Massachusetts has officially joined the Navy fleet. Chief Edward Brennan says it's the first submarine named for the Bay State.
Being able to bring a submarine to Boston, right? A submarine named Massachusetts, right? To commission her here is, I mean, the amount of pride I just couldn't put into words.
A commissioning ceremony for the new sub was held over the weekend. Rescue teams searching for 27 people after a passenger boat sank in rough seas in eastern Indonesia. The captain reported high waves breaking the bow. He then said the boat sank about 30 minutes later. Everyone on board evacuated in a longboat. Their whereabouts remain a mystery at this time. Rescue crews have been on duty. They've been using a vessel along with a helicopter and help from local fishermen. News and analysis, townhall.com. Historians are excited by another link to the Underground Railroad. It's been discovered in New York City, and now there will be a fight to make sure it is preserved. Correspondent Julie Walker reports from New York.
Historians hail it as the first intact Underground Railroad site found in New York in over 160 years. A secret passageway to help slaves escape under a drawer at the Merchants House Museum. Operations Director Emily Hill Wright says they knew it was there. They did not know the significance until
we learned something really important about Joseph Brewster, who's the man who built and designed this house. And what we learned is that he was an abolitionist.
The secret passage is under a built-in dresser drawer you remove and climb into.
The passage itself is about 2 foot square and extends down over 15 feet. There is a built-in ladder.
Julie Walker, New York.
More on these stories, townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Good morning, and welcome to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are indeed broadcasting live from our studios in Nashville, Tennessee. It's time for the Morning Rundown, which is brought to you every weekday at this time by our friends at the Glock Store, glockstore.com, located just a few miles from the airport, right here in Nashville, Tennessee. So here we go. Here is the Morning Rundown for Monday, March 30th, 2026. Peace talks are supposedly underway with Iran, moderated by Pakistan. Color me skeptical. We'll see how that all plays out. Number two, the United States Senate has gone on a 2-week vacation with the Department of Homeland Security left unfunded, and the House of Representatives is mad, as they should be. A little bit of late-night skullduggery on that one, and a deal cut between John Thune, the Senate Majority Leader, and Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader. Yeah, they had a voice vote at like 2:30 in the morning with, how many people were there? Yeah, 5 people, and no objections were raised. So that's how the bill that didn't properly fund DHS and cut out a lot of ICE stuff was turned over to the House, and the people in the House are saying, you're kidding, we're not doing that. Number 3, Donald Trump's executive order to pay TSA agents is in effect now. They're getting paid today and tomorrow. Number 4, another Chinese Communist Party funded No Kings rally over the weekend. A couple million people from around the country, basically nihilists who wanted to destroy America and hate Donald Trump, mostly white liberals like Bruce Springsteen and Robert De Niro, both of whom totally lost their minds. Number 5, we've got the clip of this. We'll play this for you. In Memphis, which is, by the way, a majority black city, right? They held a No Kings rally. 95% of the attendees were white people who didn't live in Memphis. Number 6, we'll hear from Tom Pappert about the latest goings-on in the Tennessee General Assembly, which is still in session, but as the late, great broadcaster for the Cincinnati Reds, Joe Nuxhall, used to say, they're rounding third and headed towards home. He'll be here with us at the bottom of the hour. Number 7, Mark Pulliam, the best retired attorney in the country, author of Misrule of Law, will be in for a full 1 hour in our second hour today. to talk about the latest left-wing abuses of the rule of law. And number 8, well, March Madness always has its share of drama. And oh my goodness, did we see some drama yesterday in the final seconds of the Elite Eight game between the University of Connecticut and Duke University. Duke, a number 1 seed, number 1 in the country, was ahead by 19 points. But then, and they inbounded the ball with 10 seconds left. Bad pass, ball stolen, long 3-point shot by this kid, Braylon Mullins, with 0.4 of a second left. Long 3-pointer. It hits. Boom. The University of Connecticut is going to the Final Four, not Duke. The thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. We'll talk about that in hour 3. Lots of back and forth on that one. Almost Shakespearean. How about that? All right, there you go. That is the morning rundown for Monday, March 30th, 2026. It's brought to you by our friends at the Glock Store. I talk all the time about my friend Lanny McGill, the CEO and founder of the Glock Store. Visiting the Glock Store, it's a treat any day of the year, but during their annual Nashville open house, it's an event to remember. Now, I've been lucky enough to have attended every one of the Nashville open houses of the Glock Store, and they are a blast. They always have great speakers, including congressmen, senators, and, of course, yours truly. And the all-day long, free, open to the public raffle is likely the best in the nation. Last year, they gave away over $25,000 worth of great gun gear, including 3 Glocks, one of which was a GS Custom worth over $2,000. This year, the open house is on Saturday, May 30th. I urge all of my listeners here in Nashville to save the date and attend. And for my listeners that aren't in Nashville, well, the Glock Store open houses are famous for people driving in from all over the country just for the open house. So really ought to do it. It's a lot of fun. I see, hundreds of cars there, many with out-of-state license plates. I think the last time was like Ohio and Florida and Virginia. I think there's even one from California. That's the Glock Store's 6th annual Nashville open house, Saturday, May 30th. I'll be there. And you should be there, too. So there you go. Okay. No Kings. I mean, it's interesting to put this in context. This is funded largely by the lefty, this guy, Roy Singham, who now lives in China. He's a Chinese Communist Party operative, basically. And he puts up, billions of dollars in these well-oiled, well-funded propaganda fests take place around the country. It's nothing like our Tea Party movement back in 2009, which literally was truly grassroots. Let's take a look at the hypocrisy of the No Kings rally over the weekend in Memphis. Look at, if you're watching on YouTube or X Live, you can see the crowd is like almost entirely white in Memphis, which is majority black. Here we go, clip 2.
And today, No Kings protests were held across the country, including right here in Memphis. Many gathered, you can see, at Robert R. Church Park, and they marched down Beale Street. Protesters gathered to speak out against President Donald Trump and his administration's policies. Organizers also urged both state and local leaders to stop aligning with the president. Your news leader spoke to protesters from Texas who hope their participation sends a message.
I'd hope just to see that a lot of people are concerned about what's going on in this country right now and what's happened to our democracy. We all grew up during the 60s, and as wild as that was, it kind of made more sense. There was civil rights, there was, anti-war movement. What's going on now is about, the right to vote, the right to, there's so many different things going on where we're suppressing people's ability to be who they are.
All right. Now, look, that guy, he's a hippie who's trying to relive his glory days of the 1960s. And he's got nothing better to do than go with his blue-haired partner, I guess. There they are, being virtue signaling and trying to recreate 60 years ago of actually doing something significant. There they go, and they're all white. I mean, if you look at that clip, there's only one black guy in all of those clips. It's just, incredible. All right. Scott Jennings had a few things to say about the No Kings rally. Clip 4. Oh, whichever clip. Yeah, Scott Jennings.
These No Kings rallies actually look pretty representative to me of the Democratic coalition. I saw people flying the hammer and sickle in New York City. I saw Hezbollah flags. I saw Hamas flags. I saw Palestinian flags. I saw trans signs. I see weirdo liberal boomers out there. This is pretty representative of the Democratic coalition, and that's who funds it as well, by the way. And so I think if America looks at this and says, what do the two parties stand for? They got it at the No Kings rally.
No, I think if you Americans were out there, Republicans.
You like hammer and sickle? You like hammer and sickle flag?
That's not what that No King stood for.
They had a bunch of them.
That, and that is,
they come from somewhere.
All right, well, No Kings rally?
I did.
Okay, look, let's be honest with what that was. That was weirdo liberal boomers. As Scott Jennings said, funded by, NGOs, the Chi-Com friendly, Neil, whatever that guy's name is, out of China, the billionaire American, Roy Needham, I guess is his name. Anyways, when we come back, sing him. Thank you, Roy Singham. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about the nihilism of the Democrats and a big hedge fund looking for forgiveness, maybe, for pushing DEI. Back after this.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
The Trump administration has brought a lot of positive changes when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system, but there's only so much the government can do. And if we really want to make America healthy again, that starts at home, and that's where the Wellness Company comes in. The Wellness Company allows you to make sure you're prepared for whatever happens with their prescription medical kits, which contain an assortment of life-saving medications and guidebooks to assist in the proper use of these medications. The Wellness Company also offers a variety of health products, from parasite cleanses to methylene blue to weight loss and so much more, helping you stay healthy and live a longer, better, healthier life. Make America healthy again. That starts at home. So do your part and protect the health of you and your family. All you have to do is go to twc.health/Godzilla today and order. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Use promo code Godzilla to save 10%. That's twc.health/Godzilla.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait, and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-780-3599. 800-780-3599. 800-780-3599.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Congratulations to my friend Michael Patrick Leahy on 9 years of journalistic excellence. I'm Lenny McGill, owner and founder of the Glock Store here in Nashville, Tennessee, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy's Tennessee Star Network for over 5 years. When we started, he was on just one local station. Now, he's on 20 stations. His motto, find the truth and report it. And as long as he sticks to that, we'll stick to being a sponsor. And next year, Michael, let's have a party for you right here at the Glock Store.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Well, in this segment, what's wrong with the Democrats? Yeah, well, look, if we started on that list, I mean, we'd be talking for 24 straight hours. But there are some things I want to talk about in this segment. And first, let's talk about how many ways the country went wrong under the Obama and Biden administrations, and how Donald Trump in 2.0 is putting it back on track. One of the ways the country went wrong is that the big hedge funds decided that they wanted to push DEI and climate change and all those terrible things that resulted in poor performing Fortune 500 companies. And, well, the big proponent of that was this fellow, Larry Fink, who is the head and founder of the largest institutional investor in the world, a company called BlackRock. They have $13 trillion under management. But now, with Trump 2.0, they realize, oh, maybe we went a little too far with DEI, and maybe we went a little too far with all this climate change, man-made climate change claims, which are not true. Here he is. They're trying to turn the page. They've got this infrastructure summit that they held, which is actually a good thing. We need more skilled tradesmen, absolutely. But whether it's real or whether it's just a PR move to get better reception in the public, that's to be determined. Here he is last week after they held this infrastructure summit with a lot of really great people. Mike Rowe was there talking about the need for skilled trades, and Doug Burgum was there, and then a couple of lunatic Democrats, because they have to. Mark Warner and the governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, because nobody knows blue collar skilled trades like Gretchen Whitmer. Wrong. Anyways, let's listen to and see how genuine Larry Fink was in this walkback of climate change asterisk in this interview with Bret Baier, I think like Thursday of last week.
Do you believe the woke era a failed experiment? The ESG, the DEI, the kind of push for that. When you talk about things now, you talk in a practical sense, what we can do, what we can get done. Looking back at that, how do you see it?
Society moves, the pendulum moves all the time. In BlackRock's cases, we are responsible for managing money for everybody. And even today, as you said, maybe these, renewables are less talked about it. I can tell you right now, we have many investors worldwide are investing in renewables, trying to emphasize solar and other things like that. We're working with Occidental Petroleum right now to building the best carbon capture factories in Texas right now. So do I believe the pendulum 5 years ago was too far? Yes. You do? I believe we're more I'm personally more pragmatic too. And I believe...
But do you think BlackRock pushed some companies a little bit further left than you thought?
It was never our intention, because our job is to be I got to be a fiduciary to everybody who gives us money. Our responsibility, Brett, is to making sure if one of our investors wants to invest 100% in hydrocarbons in Texas, I'm investing 100% of the money in Texas. But if another state fund wants us to invest in, let's say, all green energy, we're going to do that. It's their money. But today, because of AI and the overwhelming need for power and electricity, it can't just be one way right now. It can't just be hydrocarbons. So if you see what China is doing right now, China is rapidly building more nuclear than any other country in the world. They have the largest solar fields in the world, yet they're the biggest importer of gas and oil. And so to me, more importantly today, I think society has moved into a better position of having more pragmatism. And what you're hearing from me is I'm echoing what we're hearing from our clients.
Okay. That's disingenuous. It wasn't society moving towards more DEI and more, global climate change control. It was Larry Fink, the head of BlackRock. He's the guy who said, I'm going to force these companies to do climate change stuff. And BlackRock, because I own 10% of it and, with through investors. And this idea of, well, if I have somebody that wants to invest in solar, that's what we're going to do. This idea of making money and getting the best return is really where you ought to be. And solar, it's just not cutting it. Wind is not cutting it. It's going to be hydrocarbons. It's going to be fossil fuels. He didn't say fossil fuels. He said hydrocarbons. It's going to be fossil fuels in energy. It's going to be nuclear and these little mini nuclear plants. And it's going to be, hydro dams. It's not going to be wind. It's not going to be solar. They cost more than they deliver. That is an absolute truth. Well, we'll see how that all plays out. Let me say this. They had this trade skills in a summit in Washington, D.C. on March 11th. And that was really, really a good thing to do. Now, they're working on political consensus to develop more skilled trades. I'm hoping, now Mike Rowe was there. They set up this foundation to promote skilled trades. They announced, $100 million effort to build the future because we don't have enough skilled tradesmen. I'm hoping they gave a bunch of that money to Mike Rowe, but we'll see. Now, what's the other problem with, broadly speaking, policy and Democrats? Well, the problem is with Democrats, they are not Americans. They don't support our constitutional republic. They are nihilists. That is, they believe in nothing and they want to break down our country. And of course, if our country is destroyed, what's going to be left? What's going to be left is going to be basically, they want to get rid of our structures so that when there's nothing, the left, the red-green axis can take it over. The commies, the Islamists, and what will happen there is the Islamists will kill all the commies, right? And it will be Islam. That's where they're going. Here's Victor Davis Hanson talking about it. Clip 22.
I'd like to talk a bit about democratic nihilism. A lot of it has to do with Trump derangement syndrome. There's something about Donald Trump. I don't know what it is entirely. His Queen's accent, his appearance, his utter disdain for the media, the academic world, the deep state, corporate boardroom. I don't know what it is. But he drives the left into kind of a state of madness. And you can see it with some of their leaders. They've descended into utter nihilism. There's no consistency. By that I mean the Democratic Party, such as it is in the last 10 years, at least from the advent of Barack Obama, bears no resemblance to what we saw as lately as the 90s, the 92 and 96 Democratic platforms. They seem like Republican platforms.
I believe that together we can make America great again.
What I'm getting at is there's no consistent message. There's no one in the Democratic Party saying, here is our blueprint for the following, A, B, C, D. And it differs from the Republicans and it's more suited to the American interest. So what happened to them?
Yeah, what happened to them? Well, they lost their minds. Now, here's what's interesting. Jonathan Karl with Regime Media, ABC, actually has pushed, leftist propaganda for years. He brought in Chris Van Hollen, You know, the guy that had the margaritas down in El Salvador with the illegal alien, Kilmar Abrigo Garcia, that they've spent, $20 million to try to keep in the States, the alleged human smuggler. Well, he talks to Donald Trump all the time, Carl does. I think it's some of that message is getting through. Here is Jonathan Karl really pushing Chris Van Hollen on that yesterday.
I guess what's confusing here is you have fought and blocked the funding for the Department of Homeland Security because you object, as you just outlined, to what ICE has been doing. And you wanted to force changes. And yet, the only thing that has been assured throughout all of this is that ICE already has the money. Because as you said, $75 billion passed in the budget bill last year. So you're holding up the entirety of the Department of Homeland Security because you object to ICE and you want changes to ICE. But through it all, ICE continues to have the money it needs.
John, we're not holding up all of the money for all the Department of Homeland Security. That's just a false statement. We have said repeatedly, repeatedly, we should fund TSA, we should fund FEMA, we should fund the Coast Guard. We are not prepared to give ICE another $10 billion on top of the monies they already have and are using.
Yeah, but they're not doing it. I mean, these guys, these Democrats, they're just lying through their teeth. All right, when we come back, Tom Pappert, ICE. Speaking of ICE, ICE is going to have a presence here in Tennessee. Back with Tom Pappert after this.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Right now, union label legislators in Richmond are pushing to impose union monopoly bargaining on all Virginia state and local government workers. Unbelievable. That will cost taxpayers billions while reducing state and local governments' flexibility to deliver services to constituents efficiently. In fact, years ago, the Heritage Foundation, they found that government monopoly bargaining in a state cost a family of four $3,000 in increased taxes per year. Let that sink in. $3,000 a year. Tell your legislators and Governor Spanberger in Virginia to oppose union monopoly bargaining over state and local government workers. Protect yourself, protect your paycheck, protect your money. Sign the petition. Go to VirginiaRightToWork.com. That's VirginiaRightToWork.com. 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 This message paid for by the National Right to Work Committee.
End the madness. Is your pet ready for some pawsome fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at creeksidepethotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
My fellow Americans, I have to tell you about my good friends at D.T. McCall & Sons. They have furniture and appliances and a lot more. They've been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years, and they're not going to rip you off. No hidden charges, no delivery charges, no charges for all of the crazy things. These are sick people at the lumber yards. These are very sick people. They charge you for cords and hoses and haul-off. They charge you for all of these things. They call them hidden charges. It's the type of surprise that you don't want to see. It's like an October surprise, but it's worse. D.T. McCall & Sons, they're not going to do that. They're great people. They're going to give you a great deal. With locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, D.T. McCall & Sons will give you the deal of your life. Check them out today or go to dtmccalls.com.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from our studios in Nashville, Tennessee. You can watch us, you can listen to us on the John Fredericks Media Network, 20 stations around the country. Here in Nashville, 760 AM WENO. You can also listen to the app online, and you can watch us live on our X feed. I'm at Michael P. Leahy on Roku TV, Apple TV, Firestick TV, YouTube, and now Rumble. How about that? We are everywhere. Speaking of being everywhere, our lead political reporter at the Tennessee Star and the Star News Network, winner of the 2025 Dow Prize from the National Journalism Center for Best Local Reporting, the one, the only Tom Pappert. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Michael.
Okay, ICE. Our lead story at the Tennessee Star this morning. ICE seeks office space in Nashville, Knoxville, after Big Beautiful Bill, passed last summer, leads to 12,000 new hires. Tell us about that.
Well, Michael, this is a very exciting thing. ICE is expanding all throughout the country, but Tennessee, it looks like it might get the rare privilege of having 2 new ICE offices. This isn't necessarily a field office, by the way. This is where they're going to be doing office work. They need a desk. They need a set of bathrooms, a break room to do paperwork, etc. And what's exciting about this, Michael, is thanks to our leftist friends, or I would call them leftists, over at the Tennessee Lookout, a liberal outlet, we know that this is caused directly from the Big Beautiful Bill. I know it was controversial in some circles. The fiscal hawks were not necessarily happy, but the Big Beautiful Bill expanded ICE funding, made ICE more well-funded than the majority of military forces throughout the world. So now ICE has 12,000 new hires. They were only thinking they were going to get 10,000 new hires. Some of those new employees are in Tennessee and are going to be officed in Nashville and Knoxville. I think that this is, 1, proof the Trump administration is serious about what it's doing, and 2, this gives us a good indication of the progress since the Big Beautiful Bill was passed. A lot of folks were concerned. What happened to these guys? We're supposed to be getting all these new agents, and what I've heard through kind of contacts at DHS, et cetera, is that it takes time to train them. Well, Michael, apparently the training process is almost finished. The companies are putting in their bids. The new offices are being found and purchased. We are going to have an ICE that is now 2 or 3 times larger than it was last year.
Now, there were reports, I think last month, that ICE was looking at opening up an office in Wilson County, which is just east. It's a suburban county, just east of Nashville. I think they were looking at an office in Lebanon. And what happened is there was some resistance to it, and that deal has been scotched. My big question to you, the city of Nashville is probably 65% lunatic leftist and 35% normies, roughly speaking. Okay. And, of course, the mayor, Fidel Freddie Antoinette, previously known as Freddie O'Connell, is one of those lefties, by the way, a Brown University graduate, right? The most left-wing university in America, perhaps. He's trying to do everything to curry favor, if you will, with the left-wing lunatics who live in Nashville. And it seems to me that if a building is either purchased or leased in the city of Nashville proper, you're going to see all sorts of crazies protesting, trying to disrupt it, etc. Your thoughts on that, Tom Pappert?
Well, to start, there is one, difference between what happened in Wilson County and elsewhere in these offices, and that is they were looking at buying warehouses, and they have bought warehouses all over the United States, not for offices, but to convert into essentially low-security jails, prison situations, detention facilities is what they wanted. And so you can understand it's a bit of a not in my backyard, I want this somewhere, just not next to me sort of situation. You can understand that somebody in a neighborhood or where their business is located, they may not want people accused of being violent, criminal, illegal aliens to be detained nearby. Now, as far as this Nashville facility and the potential Knoxville facility, I think you could see leftist protesters, but we've seen this elsewhere in the United States, and it does not work out well for them over the long term. We've seen it in Portland, where I think for 6 years they were trying to burn down a federal courthouse. Then when Trump re-entered the White House, they decided, okay, instead we're going to try to siege the ICE facility. And so far we've seen hundreds of arrests, people getting real charges under the Trump administration, not something that a judge is going to be able to make go away. And if the far left contingent of Nashville wants to engage in the same tactics, I think that could be what helps the normie contingent of the city start to reassert themselves.
Well, not only that, the U.S. Attorney for Middle Tennessee, Braden Busek, is not a guy who messes around. And, Trump appointed and confirmed by the United States Senate, he's on the job. And, did you see what went on with the No Kings rally in L.A., where they became violent? They put a graffiti, kill your local ICE officer, et cetera. The attorney there, U.S. Attorney there, I think, arrested 75 folks. Is that the kind of thing we might see here in Nashville?
Oh, I have zero doubt in my mind. You got to remember, for the folks at home, Nashville is not California. And if that sort of thing can happen in California and Oregon and even in Washington, we've seen it, you can only imagine what the U.S. government would be able to do when it actually has law enforcement partners that are ready and willing to help. Maybe not Metro Nashville Police Department right away, but Tennessee Highway Patrol would certainly be involved. Perhaps even the Davidson County Sheriff's Office would be involved. And I don't think, as you said, with Braden Busek, you're going to see these people getting off scot-free. In fact, that may be enough to keep the protest from happening in the first place. And I would just add, by the way, when it comes to local police in Tennessee, in Memphis, one of the viral photos that came out of the No Kings March yesterday was a black police officer pepper spraying a white protester. So I think the time of police officers being afraid of their own shadow because they could get canceled is over.
Yeah, by the way, that Memphis No Kings rally, we played the clip earlier. Memphis is a majority black city. Did you see how many black faces did you see? In
None in
crowd?
The protest side. As I said, the only black person I saw in the photos was the police officer who was pepper spraying the white protesters.
It's crazy. Look, I think the black population, the majority population in Memphis, is very pleased with the anti-crime safe task force going on down there. Wouldn't you agree?
I think so. I think it's a situation where you're never going to see Memphis flip Republican. It's not going to be responsible single-handed for a Republican becoming governor later this year. However, I think that what has happened is a lot of the early opposition to Trump and his crime policies has diminished because people can go outside again, as we saw at the speech at the event Trump held.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, now that we're talking about the immigration thing, we have to get an update on a couple. Let's start with Estefany Rodriguez Flores. She's out. How long did she spend in detention? Like 14 days, I think.
I think it was 14 days, yes.
Yeah, and then she's kind of doing the circuit, talking about how terrible it was being detained. I think it was, parts of it were unpleasant. There was a report that there was a lice problem in the Alabama facility. That's a problem. You got to fix that. You can't be detained to get lice. But what's the latest on that story, Tom?
Well, Michael, as you said, she's done the media tour. She's pledged that she's going to go back on the air, which it seems to be contradicting some of her previous claims. I think that the next legal step is, of course, the U.S. District Court Judge Eli Richardson, an appointee of President Trump. He's indicated that he may dismiss the entire habeas corpus lawsuit for mootness. He said it was a serious question that needed to be answered. But if you look at some of the filings, I think that Rodriguez Flores is contradicting herself through her public statements. I think that this case is going to go away merely because there's not much gravity left. For example, one of the claims was the Trump administration, ICE, confiscated her passport, her real ID, and her employment authorization, her work permit. Well, then she goes on television, Michael, last week, and she says, just give me a few days. I'm going back to work, and I'm getting back on the air. So it just seems to me there was a lot of PR. This was a lot of fluff for the mainstream media, not a lot of substance, and I think we may hear the end of her lawsuit in the near future.
How about Kilmar Abrego Garcia? What's the deal with him? Didn't there, on the immigration case, there's an April 17th deadline for the Obama-appointed judge. And then the criminal case here in Middle Tennessee, there's, I don't know, maybe another 30 days left for the judge, the Obama-appointed judge, to determine if it's vindictive prosecution. Where do we stand with those two cases, for Kilmar?
Well, with Kilmar's immigration lawsuit, of course, we recently had the judge, the Obama-appointed judge, Paula Zinnes, stay all proceedings in his first immigration lawsuit because in the second immigration lawsuit, the Trump administration has given the judge until April 17th to rule, finally, whether they can re-detain Kilmar Abrego Garcia. They've got all planned out, Michael. They've got the jet company contracted. They have the agreement with Liberia. They say they can get him out of the country in 5 days, and if the judge doesn't make the right decision by April 17th, they're going to appeal the very next day. Now, when it comes to the criminal case, Michael, I'm not sure what's going on in the transcription portion of the Federal District of Middle Tennessee, because we are waiting, as far as I can tell, still on the transcripts from that lengthy day in court last month. Once those transcripts are published, they have 30 days to submit their motions. Then the judge will make a decision on whether to drop the charges for vindictive prosecution. At this rate, there's a real chance Abrego Garcia could be in Liberia by the time the transcripts are done.
Well, we'll see. Hey, Tom, when we come back, stick around. We've got some fraud in Memphis to talk about. You did a story on that. And guess what party gets 97% of the donations, political donations, from the faculty at the University of Tennessee? I wonder. Back with Tom Pappert after this.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology. designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Is your pet ready for some pawsome fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at creeksidepethotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
The Trump administration has brought a lot of positive changes when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system, but there's only so much the government can do. And if we really want to make America healthy again, that starts at home, and that's where the Wellness Company comes in. The Wellness Company allows you to make sure you're prepared for whatever happens with their prescription medical kits, which contain an assortment of life-saving medications and guidebooks to assist in the proper use of these medications. The Wellness Company also offers a variety of health products, from parasite cleanses to methylene blue to weight loss and so much more, helping you stay healthy and live a longer, better, healthier life. Make America healthy again. That starts at home. So do your part and protect the health of you and your family. All you have to do is go to twc.health/Godzilla today and order. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Use promo code Godzilla to save 10%. That's twc.health/Godzilla. All right, folks, I need you to do something right now. Go to johnfredericksradio.com and take our brand new 2028 Republican presidential straw poll. Who do you want leading the ticket? Don't let the elites decide. Make your voice heard. While you're there, weigh in on two huge issues: eminent domain reform and President Trump's tariff policies. Are they protecting American workers or hurting growth? This is your movement, your vote, your voice, your choice. Go to johnfredericksradio.com right now and take the poll.
Congratulations to my friend Michael Patrick Leahy on 9 years of journalistic excellence. I'm Lenny McGill, owner and founder of the Glock Store here in Nashville, Tennessee, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy's Tennessee Star Network for over 5 years. When we started, he was on just one local station. Now, he's on 20 stations. His motto, find the truth and report it. And as long as he sticks to that, we'll stick to being a sponsor. And next year, Michael, let's have a party for you right here at the Glock Store.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Tom Pappert, the Dow Prize winner for the best local journalism in the country, won that along with yours truly and Christina Botteri. Okay, fraud in Memphis. I'm shocked. Tell me about it.
Well, Michael, the second Tennessee tax preparer, let me reverse that. A second Tennessee tax preparer has been accused of fraud in Memphis. Just earlier this month, we finally saw a guilty plea from a Memphis tax preparing company over pandemic fraud. They allegedly helped steal $80 million from the federal government by filing tax returns where they said people needed all kinds of COVID-era benefits. Well, now we've seen another one. Another Tennessee tax preparer by the name of Selma Brinson, 64-year-old tax professional, is charged with stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from the federal government and taking a commission for every person who she helped get an inflated return. When she figured out the government was investigating her, prosecutors allege that Brinson then went to her clients and said, pretend you've never met me. after this happened, the IRS says that it cut off her access to its electronic filing system. Brinson then went to her family members, according to prosecutors, had them create their own tax preparation businesses so she could continue to file these allegedly fraudulent returns and make significant sums of money. I think it is a good sign, Michael, that the Trump administration is taking the fraud that happened over the past administration and even a little bit during the Trump administration with the COVID pandemic spending programs. They're taking this seriously. They're trying to get it under control, but this is going to take a significant amount of time. We know that it was potentially up to, I think it was $300 billion stolen during the COVID-19 pandemic. J.D. Vance and I think it was Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent today announced a program for citizens to earn up to 30% of the fines levied against people who commit fraud. That program may be very popular, especially in the city of Memphis.
Absolutely. And I think some people will be collecting rewards for exposing fraud. Okay. This wasn't our story, but Campus Reform did a survey of the political donations of faculty at the University of Tennessee. 97% of them gave to one party. Tom, drum roll, please. What party was that?
Well, believe it or not, Michael, it was the Democratic Party. That's right, the Democrats.
Stop the presses. Man bites dog, right?
Well, but there is a twist to this that Campus Reform didn't quite catch. They do a list of the top donors. They say some of the top donors were individuals, professors named Max Ferrari, Lawrence Allard, and then a name that may sound familiar, Bruce Ben. And you may be asking, Ben, how common is that name in Tennessee? Could that be of relation to the former Democrat candidate for Congress, Afton Ben, the crazy woman of the General Assembly? Yes, that is her father. He is a prominent Democratic donor. Of course.
That's Tom Pappert, adding value that you don't get at other news sites. That's a good catch, Tom. Okay, one other story here before we go. There's a new bill that was passed. This story is going up right now at the Tennessee Star, TennesseeStar.com. Tennessee General Assembly passes bill banning release of ICE officers' identities and personal information. Tell us about that story.
Now, in my mind, Michael, this is motivated directly from what happened in Nashville last year. There was a mayor of Nashville government office that had a web page that put out the name and location of ICE agents within about 48 hours of where they were spotted. And this was during the May 2025 ICE THP joint immigration operation. They ended up arresting nearly 200 illegal aliens. And the mayor was accused of doxing because you had ICE officers, full names, I think it was Homeland Security Investigations actually, full names, the vehicle they were driving, where they were at. So this legislation prevents this. It makes it a misdemeanor or potentially a felony, depending on the seriousness of the action, to release the name or personal identifying information about an ICE officer. Now, some of the additional or heightened criminal penalties come if this was when a active operation is ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
That is a bigger crime. It is additionally a crime to release any information about an active ongoing operation until it concludes. Now, of course, because this is Tennessee and they do things right, there are caveats in there for misconduct, claims, etc. But I think that this is going to make the Democratic mayors of Tennessee think twice before making the same mistake O'Connell did last year.
Yeah, and you mentioned State Rep Afton Bain, who ran for Congress in the special election in Laos, whose father gives to Democrats. She went and participated in like a real-time doxing of the license plates of ICE agents back May of last year, right?
That's right. That was during the same operation. Now, technically, what she did, I think, personally, is a different crime. I think she committed the crime of obstruction because this would be for a government official who leaks information from a government database system, etc. But yes, Afton Bain, she bragged about it. She filmed herself on Instagram Live saying that she was bullying ICE officers by following them throughout the city of Nashville. And they eventually came up and knocked on her window. I think she might have got a ticket. We don't exactly know how that ended.
Tom Pappert, thanks for your great fast-paced reporting. Really appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, Michael.
Up next, the one, the only, the very best retired attorney in the country, legal expert, Mark Pulliam, back after this.
Is a record player the best way to listen to music? Of course not. So why are you still taking vitamins in pill form that haven't been upgraded since the 1930s? Even if you don't have trouble swallowing, most vitamins in pill form can't be absorbed very well. It's time to upgrade to the pill-free future of vitamins. Advanced nutrition company, Healthy Cell, created a patent-pending ingestible gel that is clinically proven to have 265% the absorption rate of tablets. These physician-formulated supplements come in a small gel pack. You tear off the top and shoot it down. You can also mix it in water. They taste great, they're convenient on the go, and they're more natural too, without chemical binders, fillers, and coatings. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of any product. That's healthycell.com. HEALTHYCELL.com.
President Trump is already transforming Washington, D.C., making it the safest, cleanest, and most beautiful city in the world. But we need fighters on the ground to keep it going. I'm John Fredericks, and I'm running for chairman of D.C. GOP Ward 2 to make sure Trump's vision for this city becomes a reality. Safe streets, clean neighborhoods, and yes, rat-free. Go to MakeDCGreat.com. That's MakeDCGreat.com right now and send a donation. Let's finish what President Trump started. Donation limit $200. I'm John Fredericks, and I paid for this ad.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m. Follow John Fredericks on Getter, Truth Social, or Twitter at JF Radio.
WJFN, Goochland, Bonaire, Chester, 100.5, 107.7, 92.7 FM, AM 820, and WJFB, Portsmouth, AM 1650.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. Amit Thomason. President Trump is threatening to seize Iran's main oil terminal in the Persian Gulf.
Trump has told the Financial Times the U.S. has, quote, a lot of options, and that troops could stay on the island for a while. Iran has threatened to mine the Persian Gulf if its territory is invaded. The U.S. and Israel kept up attacks on Iran, even as early ceasefire talks showed some progress. Speaking to reporters aboard Air Force One Sunday, Trump said the U.S. has been negotiating with Iran both directly and indirectly.
We're doing extremely well in that negotiation, but you never know with Iran because we negotiate with them and then we always have to blow them up.
Trump also said Iran has agreed to let 20 oil ships pass through the Strait of Hormuz. I'm Mike Hempen.
The Homeland Security budget impasse in Congress has seen thousands of TSA workers go without pay for more than a month. Hundreds of those airport security officers have quit, and some relief is on the way thanks to President Trump. The executive order means that paychecks will start going out as soon as today. And Senator Tom Cotton says the budget standoff has gone on for way too long.
The Democrats continue to blockade that funding. That's why you see long lines at the airports. We've got our Coast Guard shut down, and we are steadily draining resources from immigration enforcement as well. So we might have to use reconciliation, the fast-track budget procedure, to fund the Department of Homeland Security, too.
The Arkansas Republican on the Salem radio network. President Trump ordered ICE agents to help with security at the airports, and at some of the airports, the delays are starting to ease a bit. Watching Wall Street this morning, stocks currently in positive territory with the Dow up about 403 points. The Nasdaq is ahead 65, and the S&P trading 35 points higher. More on these stories, townhall.com.
If you don't care about saving 50% off your wireless bill for the same 5G coverage the big guys are charging a fortune for, maybe you care about keeping jobs in America. Pure Talk does. They've pledged to run their entire operation from this country, including all their customer service. Or maybe you care about our nation's veterans. Pure Talk does. They've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to America's Warrior Partnership, a fantastic organization working hard to prevent veteran suicide. Or maybe you care about closing America's skills gap. Pure Talk does. They're a proud supporter of MicroWorks. They're helping my foundation train the next generation of skilled workers. Don't get me wrong. Saving money's great, and you'll save plenty with Pure Talk. But if you want to be in business with people who share your values, dial pound 250, say micro, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
Australian police have killed a suspect 7 months after he allegedly shot and killed 2 police officers.
Jesse Freeman hadn't been seen since vanishing into bushland after shooting at officers who'd come to his rural home with an arrest warrant for alleged sexual offences. Detective leading Senior Constable Neil Thompson and Senior Constable Vadim Devort-Hotat died. A third officer was injured. What followed was one of the country's biggest manhunts, with a $1 million Australian dollar reward for information. Earlier this year, Victoria Police revealed they strongly believed Freeman was dead, but they hadn't entirely ruled out he was being harboured or was hiding in the rough terrain, which detectives conceded he knew far better than them.
The BBC's Simon Atkinson. NASA targeting the first week in April for humanity's first trip to the moon in more than 50 years. The crew will consist of 4 astronauts, and so they will circle the moon. News and analysis, townhall.com. This year's men's NCAA basketball tournament is down to its last participants.
The Final Four is set. Illinois will face UConn, and Michigan will take on Arizona next Saturday. The Arizona-Michigan game is a matchup of top seeds. UConn, after a 19-point comeback for a 73-72 win over Duke, is seeded second and will play number 3 seed Illinois. The Huskies beat Duke with a three-pointer from the logo with 0.4 seconds left by Braylon Mullins, who grew up just outside of Indianapolis. Arizona is the early favorite to take the title game next Monday in Indianapolis, according to BetMGM Sportsbook, followed closely by Michigan. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
Hundreds of workers at one of the U.S. Navy's largest shipbuilding contractors have voted to approve a brand new contract with Bath Iron Works. The approval vote over the weekend brings to an end a week-long strike. More on these stories, townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. I am absolutely delighted to welcome to our microphones here in studio, as I've said many times, the very best retired attorney in the entire United States, the author of the blog Misrule of Law, my good friend, Mark Pulliam. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back in the state of Tennessee.
You went to Austin for a conference, right?
Yes. And I tell you, I used to love Austin, but going back, I swear what did Tom Wolfe say? You can't go home again.
I was just thinking the same thing.
And
you can't go home.
I couldn't wait to get back to Tennessee, where things are green and not crowded. It's
and people are nice.
People are nice. Except
in the legal system, nothing's nice, it seems. But the good guys are winning at the Supreme Court level and in some appeals courts.
So there's lots of bad news, but you can't completely dwell on bad news. You got to, focus on the good news when it arrives. And the good news from last week is that, at least according to reports of observers of 2 oral arguments before the U.S. Supreme Court, are predicting that the Supreme Court is likely to rule in favor of the Trump administration in 2 important cases. And one of those cases deals with the meaning of the term election day for purposes of counting mail-in ballots, and the other deals with the mechanics of foreign nationals who come to the border, or in the old days they would cross the border and seek asylum, and in both cases the Trump administration is trying to tighten things up.
So just so everybody knows, there is law that says if you come to the United States, you can ask for asylum on the grounds that you are going to be subjected to political persecution back in your home country. But the mechanism for it has been changing.
Well, and it's one of these, the immigration laws, unfortunately, are very, they're like the tax code. They voluminous and a lot of ambiguous terms, confusing terms, and they have never been enforced in a rigorous manner, with the goal of trying to make America great again. And that's one of the great things about President Trump is he wants the immigration laws to make sense for the American people, that it's not like a lottery where everybody's a winner, that you actually need to take into account the needs of the homeland. And so do you want to talk about that one first?
Yeah, let's get that.
All right, so the case is called Nome, which is now going to be Mullen versus an organization called Al Otro Lado, which is an immigration rights
I think
group.
it means the other side.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay. So then they were protesting about, they were bringing this lawsuit on behalf of foreign nationals who were not basically treated as lottery winners just for showing up. And the Trump policy required aliens to apply for asylum at a port of entry and denied admission to the United States until a determination was made on asylum. In the old days, they would let you in, you would claim asylum, and then they would give you a court date and you would disappear into the heartland, and this was called the catch and release.
Mm-hmm.
And so and this is according to the Federalist, the Trump administration appealed a case to the Supreme Court after the Ninth Circuit held that the policy of requiring you to apply while you're in Mexico violates the provisions of the Immigration and Nationality Act, which is our immigration law, that allow for an individual who arrives in the United States.
Hold it. Arrives in the United States.
Right. To apply for asylum and undergo inspection by an immigration official. The lower courts, and this is, in California and the Ninth Circuit, argued that the phrase arrive in the United States encompasses those who encounter officials at the border, whichever side of the border they're standing on.
So now this is, we had Judge Alito talk about the difference between arriving at or arriving in.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And so if you're at the border and you're knocking on the door, you may have arrived at your destination, but you have not arrived in your destination because they haven't opened up the door for you.
So this is a perfect case for a textualist analysis. So you have to look at it and say, does arrive in mean, in a logical reading of the words, still in Mexico? And so you had a very predictable split, at oral argument, where the Republican-appointed judges were saying, no, arrive at means that you're actually in the United States, that you can't be in Mexico claiming that you arrived at. And the Democrat-appointed justices were very much in favor of the Ninth Circuit's view of this. And in fact, the administration's attorney got a lot of hostile questioning from Sonia Sotomayor.
I'm shocked.
And Ketanji Brown Jackson.
I'm even more shocked by that.
But reading these press accounts, you do not see any comments being attributed to Elena Kagan. It may be that she's smart enough to realize that this is not a winning argument or an argument that she wants to die on.
Are you talking 7-2 here?
It might be.
Might be.
It
that
might
would be something, wouldn't it?
And apparently, according to these press reports, again, the hostile questioning by the Republican-appointed judges included, Alito, of course, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, even Amy Coney Barrett.
Even Amy Coney Barrett.
So people give her a lot of grief because they view her as kind of a weak hanky twister. I think in her mind, she's just trying to be an honest judge.
I agree with you, even though I think sometimes she misses it. But I think in her mind, she's just trying to be an honest judge.
Yeah, and we're not going to get a decision in this until sometime towards the end of the term, which ends in late June.
Well, we got more on language. Election Day, what does that mean? That's the other case, right?
So
Watson v. RNC.
So our Constitution says that the times, places, and manner of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof, but There's an important but Congress may at any time by law make or alter such regulations.
That's where we're going.
And that's what Congress did in 1875, passed a federal statute, Title II, U.S.C. Section 7, that says Election Day is the Tuesday next after the first Monday in November.
So just as a point of fact, until that time, particularly in the first couple decades, Election Day was all over the map.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In terms of, those who are allowed to vote.
And, some of these previous elections were pretty chaotic and led to all kinds of arguing, skirmishing with the Electoral College and so forth that sometimes, anyway, there were some knockdown dragouts that make the 2000 election and the 2020 election seem mild in comparison. So now we have, and we've had for a very long time, this sort of uniform official election day. The question is that increasingly people are allowed to, and in some states even encouraged to, vote by mail-in ballot rather than by showing up in person at a polling place. And so the question is, when people send their ballot in by mail, what is Election Day for purposes of that mail-in ballot? And so all the states agree that the mail-in ballot has to be postmarked at least by Election Day, but 14 states in the District of Columbia allow ballots that are not received by Election Day to be counted sometimes for weeks after Election Day. And this is turning into a major issue because in the 2024 election, more than 750,000 ballots were counted after Election Day.
Yeah, the case is Watson v. RNC. Watson is Michael Watson, Secretary of State in Mississippi. Mississippi had that law.
Right.
Actually, I know Michael Watson.
Oh, boy.
Michael Watson is a friend of mine. He's a hardcore MAGA Republican. And so basically, he has to enforce the state law.
Right.
But I don't think he'll be unhappy if he loses. Back with more after this.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your SatPhone. Call now.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
1775 Coffee is giving away free starter kits. Try the dark or medium roast coffee with Longevity Blend, an infused blend with anti-aging calcium alpha-ketoglutarate, which has been clinically proven to reduce biological age. When you purchase the first 2 bags, you'll receive a free 1775 starter kit, including a third 16-ounce bag of coffee, a matte black tumbler, a frother, a gold scoop, or a reusable K-cup filter. Just order now at 1775coffee.com/Godzilla and claim your free 1775 starter kit while supplies last.
How much did you win at Rosie's Gaming Emporium?
Hi, I'm Jerry from Richmond. I won a $23,000 jackpot at Rosie's.
I'm Tammy. I'm from Newport News, and I just won a $5,400 jackpot from Rosie's.
Hi, my name is Kim, and I'm from West Virginia, and I won $99,000 jackpot at Rosie's.
Are you ready? Learn more about Rosie's rewards and jackpots at rosiesgaming.com. Must be 18 or older. Problem gambling? Call 1-888-532-3500.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
And they gave me a curveball question. Price of oil is $88 today. I said, it's a temporary thing, but I have something to inform you. And I'm going to say it very slowly. Under President Biden, the price of oil was $80, $90, $100 for 4 years. Under President Trump, maybe it's going to be $80 for 1 month.
Cats and Cosby, 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the John Fredericks Media Network.
Did I say it slowly enough to everybody understand?
I love that.
Congratulations to my friend Michael Patrick Leahy on 9 years of journalistic excellence. I'm Lenny McGill, owner and founder of the Glock Store here in Nashville, Tennessee, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy's Tennessee Star Network for over 5 years. When we started, he was on just one local station. Now, he's on 20 stations. His motto, find the truth and report it. And as long as he sticks to that, we'll stick to being a sponsor. And next year, Michael, let's have a party for you right here at the Glock Store.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Mark, someday we will keep the cameras on during the commercial break. Someday. That will be even more entertaining than the parts.
The outtakes.
The outtakes. All right. It looks like, Mark, that the tide is turning in favor of ICE in the intermediate courts of appeal. And now explain why you use the term intermediate courts of appeal.
Okay, so in the federal judiciary, you've got the Supreme Court at the top, and that's why they're the Supreme Court. And then in between, the next tier down is the intermediate courts of appeal. There's about 13 different courts of appeal. We're in the Sixth Circuit, but every state in the union is in one of the circuits.
And as an example, our Sixth Circuit contains all the appeals from the federal district courts in 4 states go to the Court of Appeals. And so it's Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Michigan. A weird combination, but that's where it is. And so you have an automatic right to appeal if you lose in federal district court.
Right. And then beneath the intermediate courts of appeal are all these district courts.
Right.
And there's 60. Anyway, there's a lot of.
Every district court judge must be confirmed by the United States Senate.
Right.
And that's why we say Obama appointed or Biden appointed or Trump appointed. All you have to say is Biden appointed, and you know how the trial judge will rule.
Yeah, and then
Almost
underneath the district judges, you have these officers called magistrates who aren't really judges at all. They're not appointed pursuant to Article 3. They don't have life tenure, and they are selected. They're hired on a fixed-term basis by the district court judges in a district. And oftentimes they have a great deal of authority just because the district judges don't want to get their hands dirty doing minutia, and so they farm that off to these magistrates.
And the magistrates are hired by all of the district judges in a particular federal district.
Which in some cases can be totally left-wing judges.
In some cases.
And so they hire these people for affirmative action purposes or whatever. So when you have a favorable trend going on in the intermediate courts of appeal, it's important because, if the Eighth Circuit, for instance, and that's in the upper Midwest all the way down to Arkansas, but it's the Court of Appeal that's in charge of Minnesota. If it makes a decision, all of the district judges in Minnesota are required to follow that law.
That's the principle of stare decisis,
right?
Rule of law. You must follow the precedent established by the higher court.
So you don't have to pay attention. So the Fifth Circuit made a favorable ruling on this same subject. A couple of months ago we talked about it here on the show. But district judges in Minnesota don't have to listen to the Fifth Circuit. They do have to listen to the Eighth Circuit. And so importantly, the Eighth Circuit has come out. It was a split decision, 2-1, but it's a decision that says that an illegal alien who is apprehended by ICE is not entitled to bond, that is not entitled to a pre-trial, pre-hearing release by posting a certain amount of money and pending deportation. So ICE, once they catch an illegal alien, can hold that illegal alien until all of the proceedings are completed prior to deportation. And this is why ICE is looking to have so many
detention facilities.
Facilities.
So let's just kind of get to the details of that.
Yeah.
So are they, in the ruling, what was the case? Avila v. Bondi?
Yes.
In that ruling, they said they're not entitled to bond, but the system now, once you've got a detention hearing and you're before an immigration judge, which is not an Article III judge, it's an employee of the Department of Justice, the practice typically has been to apply for bond.
Yeah, and
but they're not required to grant it. Is that what you're saying?
Well, but as a matter of policy, the Trump administration has said we're not going to exercise our discretion in favor of bond. So once ICE catches you, you're caught. And so they went to court and say, well, that's not the way it's been done in the past. And if you parse the statutory language, you could come up with a different result. But the Eighth Circuit, joining the Fifth Circuit, says no. It's discretionary whether you have bond, and if the administration does not wish to exercise the discretion, then you are stuck. And what's important is that Minneapolis in particular, this is where ICE had made this huge campaign, which was very controversial. They apprehended tens of thousands of illegals up there. And as soon as that started to happen, all these immigration rights groups ran in and started providing free legal counsel to the illegal aliens. And you have a large number of very left-wing judges in Minneapolis who would routinely grant habeas petitions and let these people out on the grounds that they should have been given bond. And so even though you want to keep them incarcerated, we're going to release them. And in Minneapolis, just since the beginning of this year, more than 1,100 illegal aliens were released on this habeas litigation. And not only were they ordering them released, but these rogue judges in Minneapolis were hauling the federal prosecutors into court, saying, tell me why I shouldn't put you in jail because you didn't release them quickly enough, you didn't return every item of their personal belongings. In some cases, a missing shoelace. They were threatening prosecutors to be put in jail because
Are you suggesting that judges sometimes abuse their position by threatening to put people in jail for criminal contempt for things that don't merit criminal contempt?
Well, if they're rogue judges, that's exactly how they behave. And so John Hinderaker, the power line guy who lives up in Minneapolis, he says, I believe this means that all of the hundreds of orders issued in Minnesota by Democratic Party judges ordering the release of illegal aliens in response to habeas corpus petitions were wrong. It also means that the judges who harassed and threatened to jail lawyers in the U.S. Attorney's Office were wrong, as were the judges who held hearings over missing shoelaces and the like. All wrong, all reversed. He says, so President Trump, Pam Bondi, the Department of Justice, the U.S. Attorney's Office, and U.S. Attorney Dan Rosen have been, as I read the Eighth Circuit opinion, fully vindicated. Perhaps apologies will be forthcoming from the Democratic Party judges who have now been reversed.
Oh, come on.
I think he's being facetious.
Yeah, he is being facetious. Yeah. Let me pose this question to you. Why does John Hinderaker stay in Minnesota?
Well, he's lived there his whole life.
Yeah.
Some people have deeper connections to their roots. He was born, I think, in North Dakota, raised in North Dakota, moved to Minneapolis. He's practiced there his whole career.
Went to Dartmouth. I don't know where he went to law school, but he's got a pretty high-end law school.
I think he went to Harvard, I think.
Yeah.
And he has a think tank up there. It's probably one of the best state think tanks in the country. And so he is the leading conservative lawyer in Minnesota and the head of the leading conservative think tank. So I wouldn't be comfortable up there being surrounded literally by not just lefties, but crazy lefties.
He's up there fighting the good fight. But there are so many crazies there in the state, in the state government, in the state judiciary, the federal judiciary. He's under assault all the time.
Well, and an arsonist burned down the headquarters of his think tank. And it's not just the federal judges. You have crazy mayors, you have crazy governors, you have a crazy attorney general.
Yeah.
So everybody's up to crazy. And because the electorate is crazy, all of the elected officials will always be crazy. So, he could move to Florida, for instance, and enjoy a better climate and not be distracted by all of this stuff. But he has his roots. Now, the important thing to keep in mind here
I think we need to send him a little bit of encouragement. It's got to be tough doing that. I mean, because you lived in California, you moved to Tennessee.
Yeah, maybe I'm a weaker person than he is.
Well, I mean, you got to be. I mean, he's literally under assault.
Yeah.
He's a good man.
Yeah, and so something like this has got to be very gratifying for him. And some other commentators have pointed out that this idea of a presidential administration deciding as a matter of policy not to grant this discretionary bond to illegal aliens pending deportation is something that no previous presidential administration has allowed. That President Trump is doing something that no previous president did. And even if you say, okay, well, maybe that's because Biden hadn't let 10 million or more illegal aliens, unvetted illegal aliens into the country before. But I think the fact is that we've had Republican presidents who have not taken our immigration system and our immigration laws seriously.
Well, look, to be honest, you can go back to Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, George W. Bush. They all did not take it seriously.
And this is kind of off topic, but when Representative Andy Ogle says he wants to revise immigration laws, this is a heroic thing that he's doing.
Back with more after this. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. He's Mark Pulliam.
This is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Solti. We got a wonderful email from one of our customers up east named Joe, and here's what he had to say. I started taking Solti almost out of desperation with little hope because I was resigned to the futility that although I was up to taking 2 statins a day, high cholesterol was something I just had to learn to live with. In fact, when I turned 60, after taking a stress cardio test, my doctor called me on a Saturday, which of course is never a good sign, and told me that I was clogged more than 95% of the people my age. I had an angioplasty and a stent procedure done at that time. Today, my stubborn triglycerides are only 1/3 of what they had been before starting taking Solti. My prescription statin dosage has shrunk from 60 milligrams to only 10 milligrams a day. My primary care doctor that I have had for many years still can't believe the results, and neither can I. Thank you, Solti, for providing such a wonderful product. And folks, I want to invite you to take care of your heart also by going to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. Use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% discount on your initial shipment. Thanks so much.
President Trump is already transforming Washington, D.C., making it the safest, cleanest, and most beautiful city in the world. But we need fighters on the ground to keep it going. I'm John Fredericks, and I'm running for chairman of D.C. GOP Ward 2 to make sure Trump's vision for this city becomes a reality. Safe streets, clean neighborhoods, and yes, rat-free. Go to MakeDCGreat.com. That's MakeDCGreat.com right now and send a donation. Let's finish what President Trump started. Donation limit $200. I'm John Fredericks, and I paid for this ad.
What if you had a plan to build income outside your job? At Lifestyles Unlimited, you'll learn how people are investing in real estate to grow their income and make smarter financial choices one property at a time. Right now, join us for just $297. That's a savings of $443 off our real estate education program. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Did you ever stop and think, why do the wealthy pay less taxes than we do? One reason, they take full advantage of the IRS tax code. Today's tax code is over 2 million pages. Who can read that? Remember the 2016 debate with Hillary Clinton? When asked why he doesn't pay more taxes, President Trump had the perfect answer. He said, if you don't like the current tax code, change it. I follow the very laws that you wrote. That's where Julio Gonzalez and his company, Tax Engineered Services, comes in. Julio's team looks at your taxes after they're done, but before you file them with the IRS. He doesn't get between you and your accountant. He reviews your taxes, makes his recommendations, and only gets 5 to 10% of what he saved you. No money up front, no cost. It's tax literacy for MAGA. He also sees what grants you may qualify for. For more information, text ETS to the number 26786. That's ETS to 26786. Text now.
My fellow Americans, I was this close, very close, to buying from the lumber yards. These are sick people. But I turned my head at the last second, and I saw a big, beautiful ad for D.T. McCall's. These are highly respected people. If I had not turned my head at the last second, I would have been ripped off at some lumber yard for $200 in hidden charges, and D.T. McCall & Sons are never going to do that. They'd never do that to you. These are great people. I've known them for a long time. They have great deals, and I just have to say, nobody knows deals like I do. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. These are tremendous people. D.T. McCall & Sons. Check out one of their stores today.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. In studio, the one, the only, Mark Pulliam, retired attorney, author of Misrule of Law, the blog, the great blog. Okay, so Jack Smith, the special counsel who wasn't a special counsel, right, wasn't properly appointed, but he persecuted Donald Trump and members of the United States Senate and private individuals with the cooperation of some rogue federal district court judges. More treachery of the deep state being unfolded.
And that's exactly it. Now, in an ideal world, Jack Smith would be a household name, and every person in America, every sentient person in any event, would know that name and would recoil with disgust if they heard it, because he's such an enemy of the rule of law. And likewise, former Attorney General Merrick Garland would be a household name, and people would recoil with the same disgust if they heard his name. And Merrick Garland was Biden's hyper-partisan Attorney General.
Oh, and add one more thing about Merrick Garland.
Well, Obama wanted to put him on the Supreme Court. Everybody at the time was saying Merrick Garland is the super qualified centrist guy on the D.C. circuit. He didn't get his way. This is the one thing Mitch McConnell did that he deserves credit for.
And let's say this, we've been very critical of Mitch McConnell, but the country does owe him a debt of gratitude.
Yeah.
For stopping the Supreme Court nomination of Merrick Garland.
And it made the Democrats very mad. I think they wanted to have him fill the Scalia vacancy, and that would have been terrible.
Oh, disaster.
And
so Scalia died in February of 2016. The election was in November of 2016.
Yeah.
And Mitch McConnell said, no, can't do it because this should be the appointment of the next president. And heads exploded. But he stuck to his guns.
Yeah. And Merrick Garland proved under Biden as Attorney General that he is probably the most partisan Attorney General since Bobby Kennedy, since Ramsey Clark, who knows. But he was terrible. So he appointed Jack Smith, who was a notorious, overly aggressive prosecutor with a left-wing bent.
Jack Smith prosecuted the former governor of Virginia, and that was thrown out 9-0. 9-0.
It's hard to get reversed by the Supreme Court unanimously. But so anyway, he was appointed by special counsel by Merrick Garland, and he oversaw the so-called Arctic frost investigation. And he's, as special counsel, given basically unlimited budgets. You can hire as many people as you want. You can spend as much money as you want. And they went on a witch hunt, stacked his team with aggressive partisan Democrats, ran roughshod over the rights of President Trump and numerous senators and congressmen whose phone records were subpoenaed in a blanket fashion. And they went and got a non-disclosure order from Judge James Boasberg, who's part of this cabal in the District of Columbia, so that none of the phone carriers could disclose to the customer that, oh, by the way, your phone records have been subpoenaed and any privacy that you had has been evaporated. Now, Chuck Grassley, who, as chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, is kind of doing the same thing that the House Oversight Committee is doing in terms of figuring out what all the bad things that the Biden administration did in the area of judicial matters. And he has uncovered and released some documents that show that Smith conspired with then Chief Judge Beryl Howell. She was the Chief Judge of the D.C. District, and her successor, James Boasberg, both Obama appointees, had been conspiring basically with the special counsel in an ex parte fashion. Now,
tell people what ex parte means.
Okay, ex parte communications between counsel and a judge without the other side. That's what ex parte means, is just you and the judge without the other side being present. So it's kind of a one-sided, under-the-table type of communication. Those are normally forbidden. There are limited exceptions in criminal law cases where there's a grand jury investigation, because technically there isn't really another side yet. It's not yet a prosecution. And in those cases, judges are allowed to have some type of communications with the prosecutors.
It's a violation of the Judicial Code of Conduct.
Yeah, so you can talk about scheduling matters, very technical thing. Yeah. What you can't do is compare notes, say, hey, Judge, how would you rule if I did this? What do you think of this tactic?
How should I present my argument to you so I win, Your Honor?
And this is exactly what they were doing, and because they were considering how to deal with executive privilege issues. And there's a ton of executive privilege when you are going after the President of the United States and you're subpoenaing records or subpoenaing witnesses, compelling them to testify about what did you tell the President, what did the President tell you. And of course, it would streamline things greatly for Jack Smith and his team if you could basically get all of these executive privilege issues in one package so that the judge could rule in your favor in one fell swoop. And in fact, that's what, according to these documents that Chuck Grassley has found, is exactly what they were doing. And they were reporting, the special counsel reporting back to Merrick Garland, saying, oh, yeah, we had this conversation with the judge, and she said, that's a great idea. I would love it if you did that. Basically, not even just winking, saying, yeah, this
is the way to do it.
If you do it this way, I will deliver it to you on a silver platter. And so this is, I think, as clear an abuse of, the ethical rules. This is sort of like John Sirica having these under-the-table, back-channel communications while the Watergate litigation was pending. You are no longer acting as a judge. You are effectively part of the Jack Smith prosecution team, and it's rigged. It's at that point you are talking with the prosecutors about how can we rig this to get Donald Trump, to get these people in his administration, to go after these Republican senators and congressmen. And so this should be very alarming to people to realize how injudicious the federal judges are, at least in the District of Columbia, where they are actively engaged in subverting Republican administrations and Republican elected officials in Congress, and at the same time going out of their way to, and we want you to conceal this from them so they don't even know that we are basically invading their privacy, finding out all of these things about who they talked to, for how long did they talk, etc. This is, it's one step removed from wiretapping is what they were doing.
But wait, there's more. Would you like to hear it?
Sure.
So you may recall that when James Boasberg became the chief judge in the District of Columbia, Federal District Court of Columbia, that he obtained from Jack Smith in 2023 a subpoena to get all the phone records of like 8 U.S. senators, right? And Boasberg said, sure. And, oh, by the way, he told the telecom providers, you can't tell the senators for a year. Well, guess what? They didn't just do that with those senators, right? Because Marsha Blackburn and Bill Hagerty, our U.S. senators, were part of it. They did it with about 84 people, one of whom is our regular Thursday guest here on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, Phil Klein, the former Attorney General of Kansas, who's now professor of law at Liberty University. They got those phone records from his provider from October of 2020 until the end of January of 2021. How about that?
Well,
he didn't know about it until Grassley called his provider, I think it was Verizon, and said, you got to give us all the names. And that's when Verizon then said, hey, we sent all your stuff to Jack Smith, and we didn't tell you about it because of this court order. But now Senator Grassley says we have to release your name. Is it okay for us to release your name to Senator Grassley? That happened last week.
I'll be darned. So all of, Jack Smith needs to be disbarred. He needs to be prosecuted. All of these judges need to be impeached. They need to have charges of breach of judicial ethics filed against them. This is a unbelievable stain on the rule of law, and conspiring, a judge conspiring with a hyper-partisan, illegally appointed special counsel to basically violate the civil rights of sitting members of Congress. It's, this is police state type business. So this is a smoking gun of misconduct by Smith and the chief judges of the District of D.C., proving that the swamp is every bit as deep and as fetid as anybody ever alleged it to be.
And arrogant.
Arrogant.
And self-righteous.
And James Boasberg, I don't, like to throw brickbats at Chief Justice John Roberts, but...
they're buddies.
They're buddies. Roberts put Boasberg on, appointed him to a FISA court. These are the same courts that gave all these surveillance orders based on the flimsy, Steele dossier. There was all of which they were suborned with perjury. This, the only way you're going to get rid of this cancer is to cut it out. Cut it out, and it needs to be cut out. And Jack Smith ought to be the first person to feel the scaffold, so to speak.
I think you're right. I think he might be in trouble. I think so.
And I don't want to make a commercial for anybody, but Ted Cruz was one of the only senators who got wind of this ahead of time because his cell phone provider was, I believe, Verizon.
No, I think it was T-Mobile. And they said,
T-Mobile, okay.
One of them. I forget which one. But they said no.
Yeah, they said, well, I don't care whether you got this non-disclosure order or not. We're not going to hand over one of our customers' records without letting them know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And look, I think, broadly speaking, where are we going? The deep state and blue states are getting more authoritarian, more condescending, more arrogant. And really, those of us who support the rule of law, we need strength. We need to be able to push back and not wilt.
And this mob is not just a harmless group of activists. They will resort to anything. And if you go back in the history of the French Revolution, the guillotine, thousands of people lost their heads over this authoritarian abuses.
Yeah. That's where we are. Back with Mark Pulliam after this.
Ponder this. Imagine for a moment that you are lying on your deathbed. This is a great exercise to do each day in preparation for your very last day on earth. Think about the tests you've ever taken, the job interviews you've had, and the many life celebrations you've been a part of. In all of these cases, preparation makes for successful outcomes. The same is true for dying. We must prepare every day for the day we are to die, in case today might be our last. Make sure you are right with the Lord first and foremost. If you are a Catholic, make sure you are in the state of grace by receiving the sacrament of confession often. Next, make sure you are right with your family, friends, and all those who are in your world. Apologize to those who have offended you and mend relationships that need healing. Make each day a preparation for your last day on earth, because it just may be. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
Did you ever stop and think, why do the wealthy pay less taxes than we do? One reason, they take full advantage of the IRS tax code. Today's tax code is over 2 million pages. Who can read that? Remember the 2016 debate with Hillary Clinton? When asked why he doesn't pay more taxes, President Trump had the perfect answer. He said, if you don't like the current tax code, change it. I follow the very laws that you wrote. That's where Julio Gonzalez and his company, Tax Engineered Services, comes in. Julio's team looks at your taxes after they're done, but before you file them with the IRS. He doesn't get between you and your accountant. He reviews your taxes, makes his recommendations, and only gets 5 to 10% of what he saved you. No money up front, no cost. It's tax literacy for MAGA. He also sees what grants you may qualify for. For more information, text ETS to the number 26786. That's ETS to 26786. Text now.
Lifestyles Unlimited is a real estate education group that gives you the roadmap and resources to start building income through real estate. You'll learn practical strategies for using investment properties to create extra income and make informed decisions, one step at a time. Join today for just $297. That's a 60% savings off the regular price of our real estate education program. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
All right, folks, I need you to do something right now. Go to johnfredericksradio.com and take our brand new 2028 Republican presidential straw poll. Who do you want leading the ticket? Don't let the elites decide. Make your voice heard. While you're there, weigh in on two huge issues: eminent domain reform and President Trump's tariff policies. Are they protecting American workers or hurting growth? This is your movement, your vote, your voice, your choice. Go to johnfredericksradio.com right now and take the poll.
Congratulations to my friend Michael Patrick Leahy on 9 years of journalistic excellence. I'm Lenny McGill, owner and founder of the Glock Store here in Nashville, Tennessee, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy's Tennessee Star Network for over 5 years. When we started, he was on just one local station. Now, he's on 20 stations. His motto, find the truth and report it. And as long as he sticks to that, we'll stick to being a sponsor. And next year, Michael, let's have a party for you right here at the Glock Store.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. Mark Pulliam in studio. I suppose we could call this legal issue potpourri. We've got a whole series of a roundup of, as you say, dysfunctional actors, organizations, and institutions creating havoc. Sanctuary states, the ABA, the Secret Service. Let's start off with, you pick whichever you want to start with.
Let's pick the sanctuary states, sanctuary cities, same difference. So if a blameless 18-year-old college freshman was killed in cold blood, being shot in the head by an illegal alien that Joe Biden had apprehended at the border but then let him go, and then after he was let go, had committed a crime and was arrested in the city of Chicago for shoplifting, and instead of being handed over to ICE, was let go again, And then the next time he shows up on the police radar, it's because he killed Sheridan Gorman by shooting her in the head. You would think that there would be outrage, it would be widely reported, that people would be beating their breasts and saying, this is the fault of sanctuary cities and sanctuary states. Illegal aliens are dangerous, and if they slaughter innocent citizens of the United States, we should apologize for that, and we should tighten our laws to prevent this from happening again. None of that happened in Chicago.
Well, and the killer, by the way, apparently when he came into the United States illegally and was caught, it was clear that this guy had been hit on the head and had some kind of mental, dysfunction.
Yeah.
And you would have think at that time, should we have this guy in the United States or should we send him away?
Yeah, and he was from Venezuela, and he's not the only Venezuelan who's been a menace since he got here. So the reality is sanctuary states and cities are killing zones for illegal aliens wishing to slaughter U.S. citizens, and these sanctuary policies should be regarded for what they are, is basically abandoning the security and safety of American citizens so that illegal aliens can run roughshod. Now, here's the worst thing. It's not the worst thing, but just to put icing on the cake, so this freshman from Loyola slaughtered by an illegal alien. Of course, it may not have gotten a lot of coverage in Chicago Metro newspapers, but it was covered by the student newspaper at Loyola.
Yeah.
And after they announced originally that, unfortunately, one of our students was murdered in cold blood by an illegal immigrant. They didn't even call her an illegal alien. It was an illegal immigrant. Somebody complained about it, and they issued an apology and a retraction.
For telling the truth.
Say, well, okay, we shouldn't have called him an illegal immigrant because nobody is illegal. And the Associated Press style guide says that we shouldn't call him that, and so they changed the story.
The style guide.
They identified him as a resident of some section of Chicago.
The leftist Associated Press, which is, we had them for a couple years at the beginning of the Tennessee Star. They were so bad we had to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And now what's interesting about that, we have a style guide. You must use the term illegal alien if the person is an illegal alien.
And that is a legal term that's defined by the United States Code. So the other thing that I grew up at least thinking that the Secret Service were like the Navy SEALs of law enforcement, and that only the best and the brightest were put in charge of protecting the security of the President of the United States and other elected officials. Well, I don't know why, whether it's DEI, whether it's just government agencies have lost their way, but the Secret Service has become so comically inept, and there were two things that happened this week that highlight that. One, a Secret Service agent who is on Jill Biden's detail, who still is entitled to Secret Service protection, managed to shoot himself with his own service weapon while he was trying to find his lost cell phone in the back seat of the car that he was driving in. And this would be, you would get fired as a mall cop if you shot yourself with your own service weapon. But this is who the Secret Service has protecting, the former First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden. And so it's just humiliating to even read about this, to think that that's our Secret Service. But it's even worse than that. So there is a woman called Mio Perez, who was the site agent in charge at Butler. And
where Trump was almost killed.
She's the person that didn't even bother to check the roof where the sniper set up camp. And it narrowly averted a tragedy, and there were people killed. I mean, fortunately, it wasn't President Trump. Okay, she got apparently suspended as a result of that, but not fired. And if you've seen pictures, there's a picture of an overweight, dykey-looking woman who was struggling to get her pistol out of her.
That's her.
That's her. And so they said, okay, well, we're not going to put you in charge of anything important, but we're going to let you to continue to work for the Secret Service. Well, so this week, it's reported that she has now been suspended for a third time in the last 18 months, and that's because she is in an undisclosed relationship with and had actually gotten married to an illegal alien woman from Brazil, so this is a lesbian marriage, who is an illegal alien, that she's overstayed her visa, which makes you illegally in the United States. And so we have
time to hit the road.
It's time to hit the road, and not just her, the entire leadership of the Secret Service.
Well, you know, it takes a while to get fixed the deep state.
Yeah.
Mark Pulliam, thanks so much for joining us today.
All righty.
Hey,
good to be here.
When we come back, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. Just ask the University of Connecticut basketball team and Duke basketball team. I'll give you details after the break.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
And they gave me a curveball question. Price of oil is $88 today. I said, it's a temporary thing, but I have something to inform you. And I'm going to say it very slowly. Under President Biden, the price of oil was $80, $90, $100 for 4 years. Under President Trump, maybe it's going to be $80 for 1 month.
Cats and Cosby, 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the John Fredericks Media Network.
Did I say it slowly enough to everybody understand?
I love that.
The Trump administration has brought a lot of positive changes when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system, but there is only so much the government can do. And if we really want to make America healthy again, that starts at home, and that's where the Wellness Company comes in. The Wellness Company allows you to make sure you're prepared with their prescription medical kits, which contain an assortment of life-saving medications and guidebooks to assist in the proper use of these medications. The Wellness Company also offers a variety of health products, from parasite cleanses to methylene blue to weight loss and so much more, helping you stay healthy and live a longer, better, healthier life. Make America healthy again. That starts at home. So do your part and protect the health of you and your family. All you have to do is go to twc.health/Godzilla today and order. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Use promo code Godzilla to save 10%. That's twc.health/Godzilla.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m. Follow John Fredericks on Getter, Truth Social.
WENO Nashville, KQPN West Memphis, AM 760, AM 730. The Flame.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. A missile attack on Israel by Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen over the weekend is raising new concerns that Tehran's proxies may try to block the Red Sea shipping routes. Naomi Bar Yaakov is a Middle East analyst with the Geneva Center for Security Policy.
I think we're at an inflection point. I think with the Houthis joining, they sat very, very patiently for almost a month before joining the fray. And now that they have joined, joined full speed, full on.
President Trump says Iran has allowed 20 oil tankers to pass through the Strait of Hormuz starting today.
They've agreed to send 8 boats 2 days ago, and then they added another 2, so it was 10 boats. And now today they gave us as a tribute, I don't know, I can't define it exactly, but they gave us, I think out of a sign of respect, 20 boats of oil, big boats of oil, going through the Hormuz Strait.
The president has threatened widespread destruction of Iran's energy resources and other vital infrastructure if a deal to end the war is not reached shortly. On the ground today, Tehran struck a key water and electrical plant in Kuwait, and an oil refinery in Israel also came under attack. Senator Tom Cotton says Democrats continue to reject Republican attempts to end the partial government shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security.
We've made multiple efforts to fund the Department of Homeland Security, even on a short-term basis, to allow negotiations to continue. And the Democrats would rather you miss your flight than deport illegal aliens. It's as simple as that.
Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas spoke this week with the Salem Radio Network. And it looks like some hope of oil passing through the Strait of Hormuz and a de-escalation in tensions in Iran has oil prices down a bit and stock prices up. The Dow is up 430 points. More from Town Hall.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-0141. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Here's Rich Thomason now with the Midday Wall Street Business Report.
Despite worries about the Mideast war, its impact on energy prices, and the global economy, Wall Street opened on the plus side this morning. So far, no congressional resolution of the Homeland Security budget impasse. Bills to pay FAA and TSA workers during shutdowns get introduced, but they keep stalling in Congress. Providing a short-term fix, President Trump signed an executive order that will provide TSA officers with paychecks for the first time in more than a month. That will hopefully alleviate at least some of the chaos at many airports. Cisco, the nation's largest food distributor, will acquire supplier Restaurant Depot, a deal worth more than $29 billion. The acquisition would create a closer link between Cisco and customers that rely on Restaurant Depot for supplies needed quickly. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason.
Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. The USS Massachusetts has joined the Navy fleet. Saturday's commissioning ceremony made the submarine the first named after the Bay State Governor Maura Healey.
The USS Massachusetts represents our proud naval history. In this 250 year of our nation's founding, our nation's independence, we have never been more proud that the journey started here in Massachusetts.
The Navy says the nuclear-powered sub has enhanced stealth, sophisticated surveillance capability, and special warfare enhancements. It cost $2.8 billion to build. The Final Four is set. Illinois will face UConn, and Michigan will take on Arizona next Saturday, with the winner squaring off 2 nights later for the national title game. The Arizona-Michigan game is a matchup of top seeds. UConn, after a 19-point comeback for a 73-72 win over Duke, is seeded second. It will play number 3, Illinois. More from...
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Our phone number, if you want to call in, 615-814-2848, 615-814-2848. We need 3 things from you. Number 1, your name. Number 2, your state of residence. And number 3, your topic, 615-814-2848. Now, also, you can watch us on live and in living color on my X feed, Michael P. Leahy, Rumble, YouTube, Roku TV, Apple TV, Firestick TV. There's probably something else that we'll add at some point, but there we are. Okay. The thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. Those of you of a certain age recognize that from ABC's Wild World of Sports, which was a Roone Arledge creation. Roone Arledge also created Monday Night Football. And we're going to watch the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. It was a very exciting end to the Elite Eight game in the NCAA men's college basketball tournament last night, actually. I was watching it. I was at a restaurant having dinner, and they had the game on. And, I like the NCAA tournament to see how the underdogs do, A, and B, I usually watch like the last 5 minutes, maybe, right? Because that's when the action happens. This was perhaps the most dramatic Elite Eight victory in 37 years after a similar long shot by Christian Laettner advanced Duke into the Final Four. And that is a bit famous. This one, though, you've got the agony of defeat. It's quite difficult to understand how the guys at Duke feel about this. Now, Duke was ranked number 1 all season. They do the seeds, the 4 different regions. They were the 1 seed in their region. Connecticut was the 2 seed in their region. And Connecticut has won national championship a couple times in the past several years, maybe 3 under Dan Hurley, the coach there. But they were down down by 19 points. But come to the last 10 seconds, they're only down by 2 points. It's 72 for Duke and 70 for UConn. And Duke has the ball. And they're at the other end of the court. They're trying to advance it. We're going to play this 10 seconds right now, just run through. And then we're going to come back and break it down. And you want to talk about the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. So this starts with 10 seconds, with Duke in possession of the ball. And it ends with the celebration after this kid, Braylon Mullins, the UConn guard, hit a long three-pointer, did not touch nothing but net. I mean, this was a beautiful shot, and he'd only had like 7 points in the game before that. But the ball was stolen. You'll see why. And then during this period of time, as they're trying to inbound it, and with 0.4 of a second, boom, a long three-pointer by the kid, Braylon Mullins, and UConn goes up by 1, and they end up winning the game, and they're in the Final Four, and Duke is out, O-U-T. Now, a little background also. There are 2 players, brothers, on Duke. One is Cameron Boozer. I think he's maybe a junior. And their dad was an NBA player for many years. And then I think the other guy's name is Caden Boozer, who's a freshman. And the drama of this is the ball is inbound to the older brother, Cameron Boozer, who passes it off to one guy, another teammate, who then passes it to the younger Boozer brother, Caden. And when Caden has the ball, it's about 5 seconds. He gets double teamed, and he unwisely attempts to do a long kind of baseball or football type pass, if you will, over one of the outstretched hands of a defender. The defender tips it, goes up in the air. It's recovered by this Braylon Mullins kid at about half court. He passes it in to another teammate, like around the 3-point line, who then shoots it back to him as he's coming in, still about halfway between the half court line and the 3-point line. And he looks at the clock and says, "Oh, we're almost done." And he launches this 3-point shot. It's the best shot the kid's ever made in his life. It's a beautiful shot. Whoosh! 73-72. And, Duke's dreams of glory are done this year. Well, okay, so that's the setup. We'll play the 10-second clip right now for the first time.
Seconds to go. Got to cut and run through the ball. They'll do better than this guy. Get it into Boozer. Back for Sarr. Ahead.
Here.
Boozer. That ball deflected and stolen by Mullins. Caravan, 2 seconds. Mullins tosses it up.
Oh! Now watch the crowd. Oh.
UConn goes in front.
And the old saying is the crowd goes wild, but the crowd did go wild. It was crazy. All right. Well, we're going to break that down, but let's go to the Braylon Mullins interview right after. The kid who hit the shot, picked up the tap ball and then hit the shot. Here we go.
So I thought we tied the game. So, I looked up 0.2 and we were winning by 1. So, you're full of emotions. That's what it is.
To share this moment with your team, to do something this big and just a moment like this for a Blue Blood program, to go to the Final Four. How does it feel right now in your heart?
Man, I think that's how hard we worked this year. I mean, we clawed back in that game. That just shows how resilient we are. And man, we were just chipping the lead one play at a time. And I'm so happy to go back home too. So I'm from Indy.
Yeah. Okay. Now the Duke coach. See the coach now whose team blew a 19-point lead, loses by 1 point. on a, Hail Mary 3-point shot with that goes through the net with 0.4 of a second. Here is that coach in the post-game conference.
Here, I'll ask Cam.
I'll just say this.
Go ahead, Coach.
And then if there's not questions, let Cam, he'll answer and go. It's cannot be more disappointed and feeling for our guys at the same time of, just trying to process what happened. I don't have the words. What I do know is literally this team, what each individual player went through just to play the game. I've never seen anything like it. What these guys did to have to get ready, their foot injuries, he's got a black eye, he's playing the whole game. And I'm incredibly sorry for these guys that they got to go through this. This is on us. We're going to be in this together. And the year that this guy's had has been absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I don't have words other than just how proud I am of these guys and how disappointed we are.
All right, let's go back to the clip itself. I want to stop it at the 5-second mark. If you can go back to the original clip. I think we got enough time to play this. Okay, ball go in and stop it when just before when the Caden Boozer, the younger brother, gets the ball, and before he decides to long shot it, and that's what caused the tip and the steal. Go ahead.
Seconds to go. Got to cut and run through the ball. They'll do better than this guy. Get it into Boozer, back for Sarr.
Stop it. Okay, right there. Take a look at this. For those of you watching it, here we go. Here is the younger brother, Caden Boozer, with the ball. 5 seconds left. And now there are two guys on him. He could actually have tried to dribble a little bit more to the right or the left, either way, but he didn't do that. Let's keep going. Let's see the end of this again.
Ahead, Boozer, that ball deflected and stolen by Mullins. Caravan, 2 seconds. Mullins tosses it up.
Dagger in the heart for Duke. Hail Mary wins for UConn. The thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. When we come back, no Kings. Who's funding them? Back after this.
Hi folks, John Fredericks here for Freedom Alliance. Veterans are still struggling with the wounds of war. They came home with injuries that changed them forever. The flag-burning troublemakers in our streets remind me how fortunate we are to have patriots who served and fought, sacrificed, and never complained. We need to support them through organizations like the Freedom Alliance. It's Military Appreciation Month and time to support those who serve. Freedom Alliance is caring for combat veterans and military families. Combat veterans fought in the worst, most dangerous places on earth. Freedom Alliance takes them to nature's most relaxing locations so they can heal. Freedom Alliance gives injured troops mortgage-free homes, new cars, and all-terrain wheelchairs. For wounded vets, there's nothing like the stability of your own home, the reinsurance of a reliable vehicle, or the independence of a wheelchair that navigates snow, ice, beach, pasture, or most any terrain. Let's fight for those who fought for us. Go to freedomalliance.org/Godzilla and make a monthly gift that will improve the life of a military hero. That's freedomalliance.org/Godzilla. Make a contribution today.
If you're like me, most moms find it difficult to prioritize self-care. Hi, it's Colleen, Program Director at the John Fredericks Media Network. With the demands of programming 13 radio stations, it's easy to forget about the things I should do for myself daily. And that's why I started with our company's Women's Challenge with Native Path Collagen Peptides. It's affordable and convenient care in just 1 scoop a day. There are so many incredible health benefits like bone and joint support, metabolism booster, and hair, skin, and nail improvement. I like to take a moment each day to prioritize myself and indulge in the health-boosting benefits of Native Path Collagen Peptides. I love mixing it up with all the different smoothie recipes, too. Learn more about Native Path Collagen Peptides and read 7 important reasons why you should be taking collagen peptides at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Prioritize your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today and get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
Target.com. Target.com is an online e-commerce tire retailer. We are here to serve the American public with the best possible customer service, the best pricing, and we make it extremely easy. We have many name brands and a lot of low-cost tires. The price is right, and it's easy. You go online to Target.com, Tireget.com, Target.com. You go there, you put your zip code in, all the inventory displays right in front of you. You can call in for help if you want to. We'll help you get the tire that you need. But we will take the tires you buy and at no extra charge deliver them to the dealer right by your house where they will be installed at the market price. It's easy. The best price, the best service, great people to deal with. Thank you for going to Target.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are broadcasting live from our studios in Nashville, Tennessee. Well, I have a unique perspective on these No Kings rallies. It's crazy. It's interesting because if you take a look at this, what you've got is when we started the Tea Party movement back in February of 2009, we funded it based upon the change we found in our sofas. Okay, there was no money. There was no corporate money in it at all. It was truly grassroots. By the way, as an aside, there's this guy out of Harvard called Robert Putnam. He did this bowling alone thing, right? He said basically the problem with America has become the decline of civic participation. Probably some elements of truth of that. But he's a lefty. And there was this documentary about one of his students was talking about that. And as it turns out, what's very interesting to me is all he did was talk to Democrats. He didn't talk to a single Republican. I went and said, well, who is Robert Putnam? Okay, he's retired now. And but he got a lot of big press talking about social capital. Well, how credible is he? Well, what did he write about the Tea Party movement? Well, he got it all wrong. He said, this was all corporate done, and these were all the religious right. No, not at all. Totally a wide variety of grassroots individuals who surrounded or believed in three core values: fiscal responsibility, constitutionally limited government, and free markets. Boom. There you go. Now, what's real interesting to me about all of this is to contrast the huge level of financing these No Kings guys have. Now, it's a little bit hard to unravel it all. But let me say, and there are many number of these nonprofit groups that are funded by it. The official site is nokings.org. They list a whole number of partners like the ACLU, Planned Parenthood, the American Federation of Teachers, SEIU, Move On, Human Rights Campaign, all that kind of stuff. But actually, a lot of the funds actually come through partner organizations. Now, I don't have the exact, I can't confirm this, but let me tell you what Anna Polina has said, and just put this out today, tracing the funding of the No Kings group behind other groups. And again, the source is Anna Polina, probably in the right direction. The amount of money this group has received, $295 million over the course of Trump 2.0, right? Who are the financiers? Warren Buffett has given various groups that are affiliated with No King $16 million. The Ford Foundation gave him $51 million. Rockefeller Foundation, $26 million. George Soros, $72 million. Tides Foundation, which is a George Soros group, $45 million. Arabella, right? That's this spaghetti chart of high net worth individuals, foundations, leftist groups, gave him $79 million. And if you want to look at it, and you look at the clips in the various places, that's why you've got basically, as Scott Jennings called them, a bunch of, white boomer weirdos there. But that was the case in Memphis. 95% of them were white boomer weirdos. But in Los Angeles, we'll play this clip. I'll have to narrate a bit because it's mostly, but they were engaged in violence, and I don't think it was the white boomer weirdos. I think it was the illegal aliens in the streets that were doing this. Let's take a look at what's going on in L.A. here. Now, there's some rocks there. What are they there for? So they can pick them up and throw them at ICE agents, I think? Yeah. And there's also, this is over the weekend, big rally in LA. So a lot of the demonstrators wearing, wait for it, man. Oh, there's a flag of Mexico going by. By the way, this is the other thing too. Scott Jennings said, "Oh, who are these guys supporting? The flags are like Hezbollah, Hamas. What's going on here, folks? Look at all this, the institutions, the so-called American institutions that are providing funding directly or indirectly for it. Warren Buffett, the sage of Omaha, $16 million to promote this. The Ford Foundation, $51 million. The Rockefeller Foundation, $26 million. Holy cow. They are promoting the destruction of the United States of America. And it's very, very well funded. This is what we're up against, folks. And this is why we have so many problems in our country today, because there are, let's just say, a minority of Americans aligned with this view of the world. It's a nihilist view, as Victor Davis Hanson has described it, and not good at all for the country. But here's the other problem. Look at what our kids today are learning. Are they learning about our Constitution? Are they learning about real civic engagement? Or are they basically being encouraged and paid to go out and protest in the streets and throw rocks? In L.A., I don't know if you saw this. In L.A., what are they doing? They were writing graffiti on the walls, which said, "Kill your local ICE officer." Really? They ended up arresting in L.A. 75 people in L.A. How about that? Well, in Memphis, what happened in Memphis? This is a breaking story that we have up at the Tennessee Star. That basically that rally on Saturday ended up with 6 individuals detained, 3 facing charges. That according to the Memphis Police Department. In a Sunday press release, Memphis Police Department said officers responded around 5:15 p.m. on Saturday to a disturbance near the intersection of 2nd Street and Beale Street that involved participants associated with a permitted rally at the Robert R. Church Park. While organizers had secured a permit for the use of the park, Memphis Police Department stated the permit did not include a march through city streets. According to the Memphis Police Department, by the way, this is hilarious. The city of Memphis is majority black. Most of the police department officers in Memphis are black. 95% of these No Kings protesters in Memphis were white, and most of them were not from Memphis. But according to the Memphis Police Department, demonstrators moved into the roadway, obstructing traffic. The officers there said they issued repeated verbal requests for 40 minutes, instructing the protesters to move to the sidewalk to restore traffic flow and ensure safety. Then police alleged that several participants refused, instead interlocking arms to form a human chain. Well, what happens next? Well, the officers then began detaining those who remained in the roadway. During the arrest, Memphis Police Department said individuals resisted, prompting an officer to deploy pepper spray. Who are these individuals? And I've got to see where they're from. I guess we don't have this in our story. Reuben Birch, age 33, faces charges including disorderly conduct, obstructing a highway or passageway, interfering with an officer, and resisting detention. Adam Nelson, age 41, charged with disorderly conduct, failure to obey a traffic officer, and obstructing a highway. David Rahim, age 42. All three of these were arrested and charged. They've all been released, $4,500 bond, as of Sunday night. Now, the protest, it was called No Kings 3. Memphis stands together, part of a broader day of demonstrations across Tennessee. They claimed 41 events were held across the state of Tennessee. Materials at the event described the demonstration as a peaceful action opposing, quote, federal overreach, militarization, and the occupation of our city through the Memphis Safe Task Force and National Guard presence. Well, the people that were really upset about that were not the majority black residents of Memphis. The people that were upset about that were the white protesters from out of town. How crazy is that? The American Civil Liberties Union of Tennessee has begun gathering information related to Saturday's incident, asking individuals with photos and videos or potential civil rights concerns from the protest, wait for it, to submit details through its legal department to see if there's a lawsuit they can bring. They basically say they're going to look at alleged violations of constitutional rights. How about my constitutional right to drive on a highway, a state highway that these knuckleheads are blocking? That sounds like I needed some due process rights there. When we come back, we'll have more. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. This is the Michael Patrick Leahy Show.
Everyone, EJ Haast here, founder of the Digital Footprint Management Agency and frequent guest on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, here to tell you about GetFoundEverywhere.com. Customers are searching for your business everywhere: Google, Apple Maps, TikTok, and new AI platforms like ChatGPT and Gemini, which is a total disruptor. Traditional search engine optimization isn't dead, but it is on life support. Old tactics don't work anymore. So how can you make your business stand out? GetFoundEverywhere.com makes your business pop on over 50 search, map, review, and AI-driven platforms. With one easy dashboard, manage business profiles, social media accounts, direct messages, even texts and reviews. GetFoundEverywhere.com is affordable, boosts your visibility, and gets your business more customers. It's time to step up your game the easy way. Save time, save money, and get more customers with GetFoundEverywhere.com.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Tennessee. Come visit us at glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
My fellow Americans, my good friends, I've known them for a long time, at D.T. McCall & Sons have the deal of a lifetime for you, and nobody knows deals like I do. That much I can tell you. Nobody knows deals like I do. The lumber yards, they can hit you with hidden charges for up to $200 extra. They'll charge you for cords and hoses and haul-offs. Your money goes all over the place and out of the state, and most importantly, out of your pockets. How do they get away with that? I don't know how they do that, but on day one, if you buy from McCall's, we are going to stop the hidden charges as soon as you buy it. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. Head to one of their stores today or check them out at dtmccalls.com. You're going to love it, believe me.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from our studios in Nashville, Tennessee. Hey, if you want to call in, our number is 615-814-2848, 615-814-2848. This time I need your name and your state of residence. We're only going to talk about one thing. We're going to talk about some Tennessee political stuff right now. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some of these congressional races that are ongoing. Now, what's the background of this? In Tennessee, the Republican and Democrat primaries are held on the first Thursday after the first Tuesday in August. Don't ask me why it's a Thursday. I think it has something to do with Wednesday night church way back when here in Tennessee, but it's on a Thursday. And we have 9 congressional districts. And in all 9 of those, 8 of them are Republican. 1 of them is Democrat. And pretty much in all these districts, if you win the primary, you're going to get elected. Now, we'll get to, probably not in this segment, but later in this week. In the 9th congressional district, you've got a very interesting race where you've got Judson Pearson, he of the Tennessee 3. This is the Democrat district, basically, in Shelby County, Memphis County. Justin Pearson is challenging Steve Cohen, I would call him, as Scott Jennings would call him, the weird white boomer, right? Who's been a lefty liberal. He guy that ate the fried chicken, to kind of make fun of everybody. It didn't go over well. He's about, 75, 76, 77? Aged. I think Justin Pearson would probably win that because all the lefties are animated. And Justin Pearson is, he's a press release, basically. He went to Bowdoin, by the way. Same college that Zoran Mondani, the mayor of Memphis, went. So there's that one. Let's put that aside. Let's talk about the contested Republican primaries. There is no contested primary. Here in Middle Tennessee, you've got basically 3 districts that have each have parts of Nashville. The 7th district, where we had the special election, Matt Van Epps won the special election by, I think, 9 points against Afton Bain, the crazy leftist state rep. But that includes about 25% of that is Nashville. The rest of it is parts of Williamson County, parts of Montgomery County, and about 14 rural counties. Then you got the 5th district, where Andy Ogles does face a challenge in the primary. We'll get to that later. But the 5th district is part of Davidson County, Nashville, half of Williamson County, the eastern half, the western half, or the eastern half, rather, of no, it's the western half of Wilson County. Sorry about that. And then Marshall, Murray, and Lewis counties. But the 6th district is interesting. It's got a little bit of Davidson County. It's got the eastern portion. It's got a little thread there that kind of connects Nashville to the eastern part of kind of the northern connection, the eastern part of Wilson County. About, I think, like 17 smaller rural counties. around East Tennessee. That's the 6th district. That is a contested primary. That district has been represented since, I think, he won the 2018 election by John Rose, who's also running for governor, and decided he's not running again. And the candidates there the leading candidates are Johnny Garrett, who's a state representative from up in the Goodlettsville area, and he was the House Majority Whip until he decided to run for Congress. Van Hillary, who's a former representative from this area in Congress, 95 to 2003, long time ago, ran for governor, and then has served for, I think, for this entire period of time as John Rose's chief of staff until he resigned when he decided to run for Congress. So he's running for Congress. There are 3 other candidates. Natisha Brooks, who we've known, has run for, I think she ran in the 5th district, didn't she? Yeah, she did. And she's, usually gets like 1% of the vote. John Henry and Joe Reed. John is a retired U.S. Marine, Sergeant Major, long record of service. And he's basically ran for the Senate in the U.S. primary against Bill Haggerty. He got 1% of the vote. So, he's been involved locally, but he doesn't really have much of a track record in politics of success. Joe Reed also, again, he calls himself a blue-collar businessman, and he's basically, I'm trying to see what his business is. He's a salesman. He works for a pest control company. We've got actually a couple of pest control guys. Jeremy Faison had a pest control company, and he's the guy from East Tennessee who's retiring. But of these, really, I go this route. Oh, I got one more person who's not going to run, and that is Brad Gaines. Who is Brad Gaines? Well, Brad Gaines actually was a guy who was a fullback, halfback for Vanderbilt, long time ago, and had basically a violent collision, played the game right, with Chucky Mullins, who was a defensive back for Ole Miss. And Chucky Mullins became paralyzed. And it was a terrible, terrible thing, and they became friends. Chucky, after the event, and Brad helped raise money for him and was very supportive of Chucky. Chucky passed away, I think, about 10 years ago. After he was paralyzed, really, from the neck down. And Brad Gaines is the father of Riley Gaines, the famous Riley Gaines, Turning Point USA, the swimmer out of Kentucky, who is an outspoken opponent of trannies, the tranny guy from Penn, who still has all of his equipment, shall we say, who eased her out for they tied and she was kicked off the platform. I think it was her 5th place in some national. Anyways, so Riley Gaines has been very well known, very outspoken opponent to trannies in women's sport. Now, the filing deadline was earlier this month. So Brad Gaines, who had said he was going to run for Congress in the 6th district, didn't meet the standards to run. So he's not in. As a result, Riley Gaines, who lives here in Middle Tennessee, who's, by the way, very intelligent person. I've met her at a couple of meetings, and she's really, really sharp and very impressive. She has an endorsement in this race, and we have it right now. Let's play the clip right now.
Hey, you guys, it's Riley Gaines. I'm here with my good friend Johnny Garrett. He has been a leader in the America First agenda here in the Tennessee State House. Here in Tennessee, we have led on the issue of preventing men from playing in women's sports. We were the 2nd state in the nation to define what a woman is in law. Of course, preventing children from undergoing radical transgender surgeries. I have no doubt that Johnny Garrett will continue to be a leader in Washington, D.C., which is desperate for good leaders, ultimately pursuing President Trump's America First agenda. I am so proud to support and endorse Johnny for Congress.
Riley, thank you so much for your endorsement to make sure we bring a little Tennessee to D.C. Riley has been on the forefront. Riley has inspired my own daughters who are athletes to make sure they can compete without looking at a biological man. I can't even believe that we have to even talk about this.
No, it's crazy.
Riley, but what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we support President Trump. We're going to make sure we keep men out of women's sports. And with Riley's help, we're going to make sure we do what's best for Tennesseans by bringing a little Tennessee to D.C. So, Riley, I thank you so much for your endorsement. I promise I won't let you down, and we won't let you down.
So, Johnny Garrett, who I know Johnny, and I know Van, and Johnny is very affable, and very smart. We have a number of things in common. Johnny is a big baseball guy. He coaches Little League teams and has been doing that for a long, long time. First time I met Johnny is, there's this group called the Nashville Stars. They're trying to bring Major League Baseball to Tennessee. And I wanted to go talk to these guys because I like baseball. I love baseball. I used to play it in high school and played a men's senior league a long time ago, but I love baseball. And Johnny loves baseball too. So I said, hey, Johnny, I called him up. We'd never met. Let's go down and talk to the guys at Nashville Stars. So we went down. We spent a whole afternoon with them. It was great. It was very interesting. Now, I'm a bit, what's the right word? I love going down and watch the Nashville Sounds play AAA. It's a great little stadium they have. That particular stadium downtown, however, I think what it's called now, the First Horizon Stadium, is not suitable for Major League Baseball. And so the guys in Nashville Stars have been working to bring, Major League Baseball to Nashville for a long time. And they're very, very sharp guys. But I got to tell you, I think it's a bit of a long shot. I don't know if Nashville can support Major League Baseball. Then you got the problem with the stadium, et cetera. But look, still, anyways, I met Johnny then, and it was a great time. Really enjoyed him. And the thing about Johnny as majority whip, when you're majority whip in the House of Representatives, you know what you have to do, right? What you have to do is you have to have that, I guess with Johnny's case, I call it the velvet glove, right? You have to go ahead and you have to get people to go along with leadership, but maybe a carrot and stick. And Johnny is really, really good at that. The other thing that I have in common with Johnny is he's a graduate of the Nashville School of Law, which I, as you know, you've heard here, I'm the second year now. I'm attending at night. Why? It's a night law school. It's great. It's over 100 years old. It got started as the YMCA School of Law, night law school for average working people. There were about 80 of these back at the beginning of the 1900s. Now there are only two: one in Birmingham, one in Nashville. So I have that in common with him as well, and he's done well in the fundraising side. Now Van I'm friendly with Van as well. I'd say I'm closer friends with Johnny than I'm with Van, but I talk with Van all the time, and Van has raised less money than Johnny. He's raised enough, I think, to be in the game, but he's raised less money than Johnny. And I haven't seen a lot of Van out on the campaign trail. I've seen a lot of Johnny out on the campaign trail. And we don't get a lot of communications from Van's team. They're both invited to come in, and they will come in. And we'll have a good conversation with both of them. But I think in this particular race, I think you'd have to say that the front runner is probably Johnny. And in second is Van, and then all the other guys are just not going to get any. They got 1%, 2%. John Henry. Look, it's America. If you want to run for Congress, you can. But how do you win? Well, you have to have money, and I think Johnny's got over $1 million. I think Van's got over $500,000, so that's all good, right? But the others don't have. I don't think any of them have gone past $10,000. And also, you look at these races. There's so many races going on. What's the big problem? Well, the big problem is name ID. And, that's where you need the bucks. You need the big bucks. Okay, that's the big news. Riley Gaines has endorsed Johnny Garrett for the Republican nomination for Congress in the 6th Congressional District. We'll have more when we get back. It'll be time for News Potpourri.
Strom Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea, a supplement to help you have a healthier heart and stronger cardiovascular system. At Soul Tea, we regularly get emails from our customers telling us how Soul Tea has helped them. Like this one from Kelly. Hello, I'm 58 years old and have had high cholesterol for years. I wanted to stay away from prescription drugs. My husband and I have been using Soul Tea for about 13 months. My results have been amazing. My cholesterol levels went from 291 to 129. I am so impressed with Soul Tea and want to thank you. Now, in my own case, my bad cholesterol dropped from 130 to 89, and that was 20 years ago. I'm 75 years old and I take 0 prescription drugs. To get a great deal on Soul Tea, please go to GodzillaHeart.com, and when you check out, use the code Godzilla to get our best deal, which is 50% off your first shipment and then 3 bottles for the price of 2 thereafter. You don't have to live with a broken heart.
Do you suffer from
Try
declining
Soul Tea
bone and
today.
joint health? Hi, it's Tina with the John Fredericks Media Network. And when I heard about our company's Women's Challenge, I jumped on the opportunity to test this amazing supplement that's already restoring my bone density, soothing my joint pain, and helping me regain lost mobility. I've experienced so many benefits in such a short time with Native Path Collagen Peptides because they support my bones and joints, boost my metabolism, and unleash the most radiant skin and hair since my 20s. In just 2 weeks, my knee stiffness is gone, and I'm already hitting the gym more aggressively. And I get so many compliments on my glowy skin and shiny hair. Native Path Collagen Peptides are so easy to take. They're tasteless, odorless, and mix great with my morning coffee. Read thousands of 5-star reviews at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Level up your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today. And get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Well, folks, it's that time of day again. It's time for News Potpourri. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, News Potpourri. This is the portion of the program we talk about those stories that are of note, don't necessarily merit a full segment, and may have a touch of irony. Well, you know, I've talked about my theory of the threshold at which a Western republic collapses. And I think it's when you get to about 6% of the population is Muslim. We're about 1.5% here in the United States. And in the United Kingdom, it's 6%. I think all of the intelligent, strong people left Europe for the United States over the past couple hundred years. And what's left behind is the stupid losers. Oh, is that too harsh? Listen to this British woman who says, you know, you can't have dogs at the park because it would offend our Muslims friends. Here we go.
We've got a problem. It's a lot about the national parks and getting people out there and making national parks for everybody. And one of the problems is dogs. And actually, this isn't just about the fact that a lot of Muslims find dogs very difficult. It is about people who do not know how to control their dogs.
Why do Muslims find dogs difficult?
Because a lot of they don't have dogs as pets. They have dogs as
dinner.
That shouldn't stop.
Okay, let's stop. It's crazy. Dogs, and you know, dogs have been part of English culture for millennia. And what they're doing is they're totally giving it away. Okay, here's a weird story. Just fun. I got to throw this one in. Again, the decline of Europe. This says it right here. This is from CNN, published this morning, just about an hour ago. Thieves steal 12 tons of Kit Kat bars in a European chocolate heist. Thieves have stolen more than 400,000 Kit Kat chocolate bars, weighing around 12 tons from a truck in Europe. The confectionery, which is manufactured by the Swiss firm Nestle, was stolen when the vehicle was distributing the bars along a route run from a factory in central Italy to Poland, Kit Kat said in a statement. Okay, how do you lose 400,000 Kit Kat bars? You just you park the truck and you come back and they're gone? That story doesn't fit well with me. Speaking of stories that don't fit well with me, the ignorant arrogance of Governor Gavin Newsom and his wife is beyond belief. Here, the governor's wife was talking with Jen Psaki the other day, and listen to what she had to say. Oh, 2023. Okay, here we go. Let's play this right now.
You took your 4 kids on this trip. You're here in Alabama now. Why was it important to you to take them on this trip to red states and learn about the history in our country?
That's a great question. Well, I don't think, or I know for a fact, that we don't get all of this history in our schools. And it's part of, enlivening them, building their curiosity, expanding their hearts, their empathy, so that they themselves can be the change they wish to see in the world and recognize that, we have work to do and that we have healing to do. And so that they can be, use their voices to stand up and speak out when they see pain and suffering and bullying and racism and misogyny around them. And
you want them to see it so that they know.
I do. I'm a truth seeker. They need to know the truth.
Okay, so apparently there's no pain and suffering in California. But today, according to Governor Newsom's wife, their little kids had to go to Alabama to witness pain and suffering and racism. I got news for you. Alabama, the history of racism in Alabama is long gone. They don't have to prepare to defeat racism in Alabama. What you have to do is prepare to defeat the lack of rule of law. The lack of rule of law in California. Okay, here, this is interesting. Here's a story. I told you how, Europe is collapsing. Here's one. Renoir, Cezanne, and Matisse works were stolen in a 3-minute Italian museum heist. Italian police say that 4 hooded criminals broke into the Magnani Rocca Foundation in a rural villa south of Parma on March 22nd, and they stole all these masterpieces. I wonder what's going on with that. Here's another one. Interesting enough. This is from CNN. Millions of Americans are now eligible for Canadian citizenship, and many are applying, quote, just in case. I'll read this. This is typical CNN. When Donald Trump was first elected in 2016, New York State residents Ellen Robillard briefly looked into getting Canadian citizen. Her mother was born in Nova Scotia. Well, my dad was born in Quebec, by the way. As a Democrat, Robillard was despondent at the election results, but she abandoned the idea after realizing her young son wouldn't be eligible for citizenship under a law that barred Canadians born abroad from passing their citizenship to children if they're born outside of Canada. In 2023, however, Canadian courts ruled that law unconstitutional, and the changes to eligibility came into effect in December, suddenly opening a pathway to Canadian citizenship to many Americans at a time of political upheaval. Okay, so let me just tell you this. My father, when he was 20 years old, back in 1949, was given the choice to go back to Canada, because he'd come here to the States to work on a farm, go back to Canada or join the Army and become an American citizen. He made the right choice, and he stayed here. Now, if this Democrat from New York wants to go back to Canada, I say let her go. We don't need her because anybody that thinks like the Canadians think today is not the kind of person that we want to have here in America. Well, there you go. All right, that's our show for today. We'll be back tomorrow morning, same time, same place. I hope you have a great day. Our website, TennesseeStar.com.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's number one source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com. Listen to Michael Patrick Leahy and make America great again.
Nashville.com is a full-service real estate brokerage that charges homeowners a upfront flat fee of $999 to completely list, market, and sell your home. We are all about saving consumers money, saving that equity. Nobody should hire an agent and feel like when that agent walks in the door that agent is more concerned about the down payment on their next Mercedes purchase versus saving the equity that those homeowners have worked hard for. I've spent a career, my entire career, in ensuring that the equity that people save and they put into their monthly mortgage every single month, as much of that as we possibly can goes back to them when they go to list and sell that home. The idea is
WENO Nashville, KQPN West Memphis, News Talk AM 760, AM 730, The Flame.
FlatFeeNashville.com.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. President Trump told reporters on board Air Force One on Sunday